Welcome back to Play On Gamers with my partner in crime, Ben Silverman. Ben, welcome back for another show. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
But a great day. E3 is back, and missed it.
Yeah, no, it's actually, that's a great point because it was one of those days where you're constantly kind of refreshing, you know, like trying to see what was next, what did you miss, and like there's just video after video after video today. And to bring that back, like missed it, like it feels like old school Xbox again. I mean, we're gonna get into it, but that Microsoft showing today, like that brought an excitement out of me in my gut about Microsoft, or not Microsoft because I actually love them in general, about Xbox as a platform that I have not felt in a while. It like literally, I'm like, do I need to go buy an Xbox even though I don't need one? Like I literally actually had that thought today.
Yeah, they killed it today. They did a great job. We got Ubisoft today. We're gonna talk about that was 2 days ago or yesterday. Square Enix, Xbox, Bethesda, and Summer Games Fest. We'll touch on.
I felt the need to wear my my Fallout shirt today. After that, I don't even like Fallout 76. I bought this for $5 at GameStop. So
I was gonna wear my PlayStation shirt, but
let's save that one.
Yeah,
I honestly, after seeing what Microsoft did, I do have really high expectations for PlayStation. I have a feeling we're going to see some cool stuff come from there as well.
If they care enough. I mean, they ditched E3 last year we had E3.
Yeah, but they still have a way of kind of stealing the show. You know,
they can.
So,
they had the portfolio, but we'll get into
all that. Yeah, you're right. Let's not. It's
10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock at night, and we're just getting started. So.
Don't need another 2-hour episode. All right, let's get into it. We'll start off with the Summer Games Fest, and we'll talk about two games in particular. If you guys are listening to this, we're not going to cover every game that was mentioned because, quite frankly, we'll be here all night. And we really just want to talk about games that interest us because we're more enthusiastic about it. But we will touch on some games that maybe we haven't played or that we're not going to necessarily play, but we still want to reference them because they're just interesting. So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about Elden Ring. This is the game from Software, written by George R.R. Martin. We've been waiting for a while, and I believe it comes out this year as well, which is pretty exciting. I believe it comes out this year, unless I got that wrong, Ben.
Beginning of next year.
Beginning of next year, I'm sorry. Yeah, right in the beginning.
I think they said January, yeah.
Yeah, I have the wrong date here. I have the 2021. That's why it confused me.
Yeah.
All right. So it's supposed to come out beginning of next year, so very soon, much earlier than we thought because we haven't seen.
Expected, yeah.
Exactly, because we haven't seen anything about it. We had a really nice trailer. What do you think, Ben? Go ahead. I'll let you open up with that.
I think it looks great. I shouldn't say never. I played a little bit of Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really in on the FromSoft games too much, so I don't have too big of an opinion on it. Never played Bloodborne, but man, this looks like the kind of game that I'm going to play through entirely. It reminds me of when The Witcher 3 came out. My friend Anthony and I at work were talking about it, and I'm like, fantasy's no go for me. I'm not even gonna touch it. And then I don't know why I decided to pick it up, and I just could not put that game down. And so roguelikes, Soulsborne games, not really my thing. But looking at this open world,
with a story,
outlined by Martin, maybe if he actually finished it. It looks beautiful, and it looks beautiful too. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
And they're a game that's really focused on gameplay, right? They're a studio that's very focused on gameplay and mechanics.
Yep. I was about to say.
Yeah, and that is a big thing as well, and it makes the game. I guess we're not gonna have time to talk about it, but I've been replaying Last of Us 2, and I was gonna play Final Fantasy 7, but I'm just getting into Last of Us 2 again. It's just such a tight game. Games that really focus on that attention to detail, you can get me. Like you said, I think bringing up The Witcher 3 is a great point there because I enjoyed Witcher 2. And I played some of it, but it didn't hook me. Like Witcher 3 was like, oh, this is something special. Right. And I do think that there's a reason everybody's excited for this one. I don't think we're going to have like the same type of open world as like Witcher 3, right? Like we're not going to have like these big expansive towns probably.
I don't see anything like that.
Yeah, but it will be more focused on exploration and probably finding items and stuff like that. So it just looked cool. It sounded cool.
Looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think for me, I do want to play Demon Souls for PS5, but really just because there isn't a lot of next gen stuff,
It looks
and it just
beautiful.
looks pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. But I don't want to shell out $70 for it, or even I think it was on sale for 60. I just don't want to spend that much on that type of game. This game is a game I potentially would buy day one, so
Yeah.
it'd be a big leap for them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right.
Yes, same as well. All right, let's move on to the next game, and this one's going to be, I'm a little naive on this game. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is a spin-off of Borderlands. It looks interesting. It looks really interesting. For me, I've primarily played Borderlands 1 and 2 on a co-op basis. Like, I played a lot in the same room with a buddy. I never finished either one, but I'd say I probably put 20 to 30 hours into both of them. Just exploration is fun. The shooting mechanics, obviously the cel-shaded style, really interesting. And I'm sure taking a spin-off here, they've had a lot of success doing that, even with the Telltale games. They're just a talented studio, so I think it's intriguing, and it looks to me like the style of it might be more appealing to myself, even though I love Mad Max and whatnot. It does seem interesting. Ben, take it over from here, and I don't know, do you want to show the trailer off for this one as well?
Yeah, it's playing.
Oh, perfect, sorry.
Borderlands games I've loved. I've played them, almost all of them. The Borderlands 2 I must have played through a half dozen times when it first came out. The pre-sequel, loved the pre-sequel, even though it wasn't made by the core team. Tales from the Borderlands spin-off I played a little bit of. Genuinely funny game.
They're very funny games.
Yeah,
Good writers.
Yes. And there was DLC for saying how much I played Borderlands. Now I don't remember what it was, Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel, where it was Tiny Tina narrating like a Dungeons and Dragons type experience for the players, and you play through, and it's one of those untrustworthy narrator things where they'll just throw things in there, and she'll be like, "No, that's not how it happened," and rewind it, and it goes out a different way. This seems like it's going to be that, only blown up into a huge world, and I'm excited for it. I love Borderlands. Anytime there's more Borderlands, gimme.
That's actually really interesting. So you think they're going to change up the way they tell their stories? You think it's going to be one of those, like, a little mind fuck of a game?
Yeah, I think it'll be unreliable narrator. Type story. I think that's what it's called.
Like the Joker.
Well, she'll be narrating the story, and it sounds insane, and things are coming out of nowhere, and then you'll jump around to some other. It's supposed to be like a Dungeons and Dragons type deal. So I'm sure she'll be the DM, and you'll be whatever.
Weird, cool. All right, I got you.
She puts out for you, and she'll just be throwing things in your face. And I don't know if it's going to be like a full length Borderlands game, because those games are extensive. But I wish this didn't leak, because this would have been a nice surprise. A lot of these surprises leaked.
Yeah, unfortunately, which is, we talked about this last time. I hate leaks. Yeah. I mean, I understand why people get excited about it, but like, there is something to just waiting and having that moment. It's so much more impactful. Yeah. And I think it's almost like the reason I don't steal games anymore. Like, I don't. And obviously we stopped doing that a while ago, years and years ago, right? We used to pirate games when it was more acceptable, but like, there really is a lot to empowering these studios, to let them make their money off their games, let them control the message themselves. Yeah. It's a better overall product that way. We get a better product, and they survive longer. So
there's nothing gained from just spoiling a game reveal. If there's some reason to it, I don't know what a public interest for spoiling a game reveal would be, but just tweeting out there, "Hey, I know for a fact this is happening because my buddy, at works there told me." That's just a shame.
It is. It's really upsetting, and I think there's even like something with Jason Schreier that apparently has more to do with Zelda. I'm going to go off for like a second here, but apparently he put out like a tweet, because he has a lot of inside sources, right? I think he writes for Bloomberg now, right? Instead of Kotaku. Yep. But he had some kind of tweet that went out where it obviously was hinting at something with Zelda and some kind of like hint at a game coming, and he deleted it immediately because he's like, "Oh, it's like so obvious that this is a leak." It's like, you really don't want to be responsible for that anymore, because it's like, why? information so easily. It's like a leak back in the day before Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff. It was like legitimately interesting. Today, it's like it'll spread like wildfire, and then all the appeal is gone, and people make up a bunch of assumptions about stuff without it even being true, which, it's just annoying.
Right.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Tiny Tina's before we move on?
No, if they can capture even a slight bit of what made Borderlands 2 and to me the pre-sequel special, I'll be all in.
Well, actually, this makes me think of something. I'm like thinking about it. I have the Handsome collection too. I haven't even played it, but it's going to be a co-op based game, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome because especially kind of the dynamic that you're talking about and playing that with somebody else.
Oh yeah.
That could be a really fun, wild ride, actually, because you're all of a sudden you're taking on all these turns, you know what I mean, within the story, and like kind of forced to go different ways within like the levels, and it's gonna be probably open world to some degree, right? Like an open map.
It would have to be. They've
have
never
to
done
be.
the Borderlands besides the Tales from the Borderlands, but that was
This might be one that the two of us end up playing together because it sounds up my alley.
We should probably jump into Borderlands 2.
I own both.
Sequel.
Okay. I don't know if I have. I definitely have 2. 100% have 1 and 2. So we'll have to actually maybe. Yeah, all right. That and we still have to play Ghost Recon, which I haven't even started yet. All right, let's move on. Well, okay, this is a perfect segue. Since I didn't play Ghost Recon, let's talk about Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
They had
conference. Was it yesterday?
Yes, yesterday. As of we're filming this on Sunday the 13th, so they had on the 12th. They had a decent showing. I don't want to say they had a bad showing, but in comparison to what Microsoft, we'll get into that afterwards. What they put out. It's just kind of not night and day, but it was just, it's kind of an average press conference. The first game that they talked about, though, was Rainbow Six Extraction, a PvE type game. This is about an alien threat, so I guess they're moving away from the grounded reality of Tom Clancy, which is fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that personally, but it doesn't sound like something I personally would care too much about. It's based off the Siege gameplay. And I mean that is good because that gameplay is tight and a lot of people really like that. And maybe they're just trying to mix it up so they just have an option. But I do like aliens, so that's cool. I don't know if it's something I'll play though. It seems like something you would play. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'll play it. I'm more PvE than PvP. I never really played too much of Siege. They have a terrorist hunt mode, which is pretty sweet, where it's you versus tracking down AI terrorists in a level, but PvE is more appealing to me. It looks just like they copy and pasted the Siege gameplay, changed some guns around and some mechanics, but it'll definitely be something I'll play. But I'll need somebody to play with.
Yeah, well, maybe this will be one since I do like alien stuff. I know they have the destructive environments. Like I remember that in Siege, right? You could like blow out the floor from beneath your enemy, and like you just have all these different ways of taking them out. So I wonder in this case, like, is there going to be like different types of like machinery that you can take advantage of or crash it into like an alien structure or something like that?
I'm wondering if this engine they built is not capable of like advanced scripting or some sort of open levels, because they could have turned this into a single player game. I'm not sure why it seems like it's Siege, but against the AI. It doesn't. I would have loved to see some sort of story narrative, different levels, progression, using the Siege gameplay, the Siege engine, all that stuff. I'm not sure if maybe it's not capable of doing that, or it's not in their vision.
Well, I would imagine with something like that, you have to write, you have to build out that functionality into their code base, and if they already have it, they're probably just repurposing it. And I mean, if we look at Ubisoft of late, you look at Far Cry 6, right? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Assassin's Creed. Like a lot of this stuff is just repurposed libraries. Right. Like they have all this stuff already, right? The entire company shares these resources, and they're just like, well, what functionality do we have already built that we can get this game out within 2 years, 3 years without redesigning stuff from scratch? But you're right. It's probably an opportunity missed.
Yeah. And
maybe it's because it's not a grounded story that they kind of avoided that. Since like Tom Clancy is really not about aliens. Right. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why they didn't have like a team that wanted to write about it that much. Maybe that was like kind of like the zombies mode for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right? Like that could have had a story mode too, which I think they added one at one point. Yeah.
It's probably closer to this than you think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took this. Like they were doing aliens versus instead of zombies.
Yeah, very very creative. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I saw a little bit of that in E3 so far, but again, they start. Yeah, there's so many games made at this point; it's hard to originate. All right, anything else you want to say about Siege, or should we
No,
move
we
on?
gotta move. We're gonna have to because I think
Okay.
Xbox is gonna take us a while.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move into. I just want to talk about AC Valhalla real quick. Just if those are not aware, they do. I don't even remember the name of the. Can you look it up for me, actually, real quick? They're releasing an expansion pack for Valhalla.
Yes.
Really, the takeaway here is just how much support this game is getting. Again, it's the highest selling Assassin's Creed game. I personally am upset that I bought it day one. I should have bought it on sale. I did put like 30 some hours into it. I found the story incredibly boring, structured boring. The characters were super dry. Yeah, they just need to go back. Siege of Paris. That was it. Thank you. Which again, on paper sounds awesome. Like the whole game on paper sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But when I play it, I could not have been more bored. Like the best part was the Viking raids, and then when you find out how generic like building up the Vikings are, it's like really Black Flag to me was the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed, and then since then I don't know, just hasn't done it for me. You think you'll pick up this game at some point or play it?
I thought I owned it, and I went to go download it the other day, and I did not. So I may buy it on the Epic Games sale that's going on right now. I might wait and see if there's a sale coming up.
Yeah.
I huge Assassin's Creed fan. I did not beat Odyssey, but I must have put over 120 hours into that game so far.
I put a lot into it too. Good game. They both
game.
were. Origins was also good.
Loved Origins. I gotta try Valhalla before I have but it seems right up my alley. It's just open world games of that size, especially now with the little one. I gotta pick and choose. Which games I put 100 hours into.
It's not. Yeah, I agree with you, but like I brought this up before. Like when I play Ghost of Tsushima, like they did the open world thing just so much in a so much more enthralling way than Assassin's Creed. Whatever it is that AC is doing, they really need to change. I know they kind of tried with Valhalla. I don't think they achieved it. They needed to be a little riskier. Maybe even make the game smaller. But it's just bloated. Like I don't want to explore the map. Like it feels tedious to me. But maybe that's me. Like you're saying, there's so many games at this point. It's like I don't know how to pick. All right, let's move on. We'll mention it again, but I mean, how many times we have to mention it? We're going to mention it twice, I guess today. We're not. We'll just mention it for Ubisoft instead of Xbox. But they showed off Far Cry 6 again. More trailer, more gameplay.
Yep.
Dude, my excitement level for this game has dropped tremendously, but I'm sure it's still a good game, and I doubt that it won't sell tremendous. Like, it's going to sell. It's going to sell. It's going to make money. People are going to like it. And I could play it at some point. I actually saw an offer for 4. I already own 4, but 4 and 5 together for $5.
Oh.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I wouldn't play both. I would play 5.
But I own 4. I own 3. Honestly, if they just like remastered 3, I'd probably play that. I'm
sure 3 would still hold up.
Yeah, but even without it, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how Far Cry 6 does, but I can't. That's not going to be a day one purchase for me.
It might be
just
for me.
not. I think you'll definitely play it within the. Yeah, I think you'll play it within the recent window that it'll come out. I doubt that you'll be able to keep your hands off of that one. All right. Anything else you want to say about Far Cry 6? We talked about it a bunch already, so I don't know if there's.
Trailer looked great. The villain. I love the look of the backstory they're building for the villain. This game is going to be about the villain. It seems like they're getting crazy with the gameplay, crazier than I thought they were going to get. Flying cars, got like flamethrower, like rotating barrel flamethrowers. It looks nuts. Not really my thing when they start to get crazy like that. I'm sure I will enjoy it though. And Giancarlo Esposito, I'm sure is going to kill it as a villain. No pun intended.
You know what? No, and I think that is the biggest appeal of Far Cry is that you always have an interesting villain. So, and obviously he's a great actor as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a reason for me to pick it up, but I love stories and games. I don't know. I feel like with so many games to play, it's like I don't know.
Yeah. No,
We'll see.
we'll see.
Crazier is not appealing to me personally. Like I like more grounded gameplay. So I guess the more that they move away from that, the more it starts saying like it's not really for me. It's
Yeah.
probably more for a certain subsect of people who probably, according to their analytics, play the game more often. Like they
Yeah.
probably want to up the ante. All right. Let's move on from Far Cry 6. Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. This was already leaked prior to the showing, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a shame because this was their one more thing. This is their big thing, and they leaked it themselves. Actually, Nintendo leaked it by accident.
By accident.
But, yeah, they put it on their website.
Well, I didn't play this one. I only played Raving Rabbits like back in the day. Ben, so I'll let you talk about this one.
Mario Rabbids is one of those games that everyone thought was a joke when it leaked. It also leaked a couple E3s ago before it was announced, and everyone heard Mario and Rabbids and they thought it was going to be trash. And it turned out to be one of the best games made in the early days of the Nintendo Switch. Have you ever played XCOM?
Yeah,
XCOM 2?
the first one.
The modern XCOMs, right? 3D.
Yeah.
It's XCOM but with Mario characters, and Rabbids. You move around a grid. Mario's got a handgun like Mega Man. You have your characters. You're making your way through a level. There's an overworld where you're running around collecting stars and doing like side puzzles. You have to keep your characters behind cover. There's high cover. There's low cover. There's hit percentages. You're not always going to hit somebody that you shoot at. A great game, and the sequel just looks like more of the same. Looks crazier. It's coming 2022 though, so that interested me more than most of the trailer, because this does not seem like a game that would take till 2022 to make. So
I have a theory.
Yeah, why are they holding this until 2022?
From what I understand, there might be some kind of consideration here for Switch Pro.
Right. I think that's what we're looking at.
And maybe they're thinking, hey, what's the rush on this game where we really want to get the Switch Pro out in the holidays, right? And then we're already going to have other games kind of coming. And maybe this is, kind of like a window that they feel that the game could sell the best, outside of the holidays.
Yeah,
but it's for everybody, though.
Yeah, some of the particle effects on this, the draw distance, they do look a little more advanced than I would expect. Some of the reflections off the water here, they do seem a lot more detailed than the original. So that could be just learning the system better, or it could be running on more powerful hardware that hasn't been announced yet. I find it odd that this game came out 4 years ago at this point, I believe, and now they're pushed. They could have it out. It seems like it could be out this year, and they're not doing it for whatever reason. You
think it could be just maybe a simpler thought that maybe they just had a delay? COVID delay?
I'm sure that's more likely than my
theory. They screwed up the announcement, right? Exactly, but they screwed up the announcement too. So maybe just things aren't, as in sync there as we think.
I'm sure. Okay. Everyone's feeling the effects of COVID for their delays.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Anything else you want to say about that actually before we move on?
No. Mario Rabbids, great game. If you haven't gotten it, pick it up. It's great.
Cool. And I'm sure it's probably expensive anyway.
It's a Nintendo game.
Yeah. They're all expensive. All right. And the last one that worthy of note is the Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora. It's going to be a first-person game, action-adventure game, open world, featuring a living and reactive world. I'm quoting Wikipedia here. To be honest with you, the trailer's just cinematic trailer. Looks pretty, don't know much about it. I do like Avatar's world a lot. I think I know the game a while back wasn't very successful, and most movie games are not. Maybe they can do it right this time. The world itself is ripe for exploration. They're obviously going to make a bunch more movies about this, and I think a lot of people wanted to live in that world as it is at some point. I'm interested. This mixed with the Far Cry engine, That sounds interesting to me personally. Like I like weird stuff.
Is it
I like.
running? It's running off that engine. I didn't
I
know
have
that.
no
Oh,
idea, but
okay.
I'm kind of assuming that because it's Ubisoft and they recycle
Yeah,
a lot of their
it is
mechanics.
first person. They said.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's. I mean, that's what I'm reading.
Okay.
So I think it's massive game, massive developers. Yeah. So it seemed. I mean, look, conceptually, it seems interesting to me. I'm sure there's gonna be flying in it, which sounds cool. Um, you probably get to customize your own avatar. I would assume there's gonna be customization in
Oh.
there. And a living, breathing world. Sounds like it might be a world like Far Cry in the sense that it evolves. You can probably take down bases, maybe take stuff over. Maybe it'll be a humans versus avatar type of environment. I don't know exactly. I don't expect it to be violent like Far Cry, but it seems interesting. I mean, hopefully it's not just a garbage movie game, but I don't think that's probably the case on this one. They just missed the mark so many times with movie
Hmm.
games, but this isn't a movie game. It's just based off of the property. So what do you think, Ben? You think there's any interest there on your end, even though I know you're not
So
probably not.
I just got way more interested in this after you told me Massive is developing it. They made one of my favorite
Yep.
real time strategy games of all time called World in Conflict, which is an about 15-year-old game. It's where the United States is invaded by Russia basically, and it's a strategy game. Awesome game. They also made Far Cry 3, or at least had a heavy hand in development of Far Cry 3, Division, and the Division 2, and
Boom.
now this. So yeah, that got me a lot more excited. Not really a big Avatar fan. I guess I mean it was fine. They're filming all those movies now. The cinematic trailer looks great, but based on what they've done, yeah,
Could
I'm
be cool.
interested. Yeah, they could have
Yeah.
picked any movie, and with that pedigree and all that they've done and all the hits they made, at least in my mind, yeah,
And
ground
and there
control
could
back in the
be
day. Yeah,
well, there could be some cool stuff here that maybe you might like, where it could be like spaceships versus like these big flying monsters,
yeah. It
right?
seemed like in the trailer you were gonna get similar to what you got in the movie, where
Right.
you'd have some airships and you'd be flying on one of your pterodactyls that
Yeah.
you tail smushed with, and you're throwing spears
Fornicate
at
with.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe they have a multiplayer mode. It's like an asymmetric multiplayer mode where you got one team's like like militaristic. They got all the gear, but you got the blues, and they maybe
Yep.
have some stealth, or they have more people, or they can utilize the environment to do other things, similar to like a Spies versus Mercs kind of
Yeah.
Splinter Cell. So there's
Yeah.
some interesting stuff there. I would love to see what it actually is going to look like, but
I have a feeling we won't see anything about it for a little bit.
they
I don't
said
think they gave a date.
2022.
So probably the whole year. I don't think. Well, maybe we'll see something
Yeah,
later throughout the summer or something. But
I think
I haven't.
I
'Cause
think
it could be
anything
end of
announced.
2022.
Yeah, I mean anything announced right now with a date can no longer use COVID as an excuse in my mind, because
Yeah, but they will.
they can try, but as of right now, everyone knows the situation. So announcing
Yeah.
a date or a year or anything right now, you better use a different excuse when you delay it inevitably.
Well, we're gonna get into this later, but it does seem like the industry is changing and probably learned, because we'll talk about when we bring up Halo, because my prediction was completely incorrect about Halo, and again, I think maybe they're just keeping stuff closer to the chest. It's like they're using it as ammo more for marketing than just get everything out at once, show them the gameplay, like show them show them a teaser trailer when it's closer to ready. Because it used to be a teaser trailer meant that game is not even close
Correct. Yeah.
to ready, and that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Fallout 4 is the poster child for what you should do. They announced
Yeah,
it.
that
and
was a
then
great reveal.
3 months later, that game is out.
Yeah, I wish it was
You
like.
did not have that long to wait. You weren't even clamoring for a new trailer or more information about it, because you're just like, I'm gonna play it in 2 months. I don't care.
Yes, and why? Yeah, and that's how you remove a lot of those leaks. And yeah, it's a great point. All right, let's move on from Avatar, but definitely one we'll keep an eye on, and we'll see. Yeah, definitely that Massive is involved in it. I mean, that definitely
Yeah.
changes everything. So we'll keep a close eye on that one and see if it's actually cool. It actually makes me, now that I'm saying it, maybe it's something like take some of the mechanics from Primal. Even they had the spears and the animals and stuff like that in
Yeah,
there.
I'm sure you'll see a lot of that. They have Far Cry 3 pedigree, so they have experience with first-person games. They got experience with third-person games. I'm sure when you're
And
in the
storytelling.
vehicles, storytelling. I mean, they look going down their list. The only game in there that I was not a fan of, or at least I never played, was Just Dance Now on Android and iOS. Ground Control, Ground Control 2, World in Conflict, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Far Cry 3, Division 2, and they're working on a Star Wars open world game. Yeah, this is.
Oh man,
I'm excited. They're killing it.
Yeah, it's Star Wars open world. Oh god,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. All right, let's move on to Xbox. This is the real meat and potatoes. We can touch a little bit on Square Enix at the end. Their showing was pretty mediocre, but
All right, here we go.
let's get into the meat and potatoes because
All right,
I
so-
will. Yeah, oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah, before we get into Starfield, can we just talk about the first person on stage is Todd Howard. So they
I
open
thought that was
the
interesting.
conference. No Phil Spencer. You don't see Phil Spencer for an hour into a 90-minute conference.
Yeah,
Todd Howard comes out, sets the tone, and then launches into Starfield. I thought that was a big message to send him out there first.
yeah, and I think it shows that hey, we're not changing Bethesda. That's kind of how I thought of it. You know, we're taking what made Bethesda, and we recognize what you guys love about him. We recognize you love Todd Howard. He's still here. He's still a big part of the culture here, and we're not going to Microsoft this thing like we did in the past. Where we come in and wipe your culture out overnight.
It honestly seemed more like a Bethesda conference that had Microsoft there.
Oh, such a good conference, Ben.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I didn't
It
mean
was
to-
no, it's fine. No, it's okay to gush over this one because, I'm a big PlayStation fan and Nintendo, but I love Microsoft as well. I don't really pick favorites like that. And this was, this brought me back.
Yeah.
This was a phenomenal press conference. Let's start off with Starfield. I mean,
May as well.
I
Let's
will,
go in order.
let's go in order. Starfield had a very nice showing. It was a simple trailer, showed off a lot of the tone, saw some mechs in there, looked beautiful. I was telling you before we filmed this, the cover art reminds me of Star Wars and just looks gorgeous. I love that picture. It'll be in the thumbnail of this. And just I thought it was a really nice way of opening up that game, especially a game that we didn't know much about. Is it 2021? Did I understand that?
November
22.
22nd.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
November
Okay.
11th. I'm sorry, November 11th.
Right. Okay.
2022.
I had it here as 22, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't make another mistake. So we got some time, but I will say it got me excited for this game. It looked gorgeous. I'm in. You know, I see ships. I see mechs. I see probably galactic travel. And obviously exclusive for Xbox, which is I think is a big thing to note. It was kind of up in the air, but let's be honest, this is why they bought Bethesda.
They said it 40 times at the conference. They were making it clear. They're like, listen, yes, this is exclusive.
And let's just
said
say
it on the
day one
screen.
Game Pass.
Todd Howard said it, and then the woman that was up afterwards said it. She's like, yeah, this
So
is
we can
exclusive.
we can all agree that the next Oblivion game will also be exclusive at this point.
You don't spend that much money if you're not going to make exclusives.
Absolutely, and honestly, it's paying off already. But let's talk about it, Ben. I mean, the game looked pretty. We have some time, but they dated it November 11th. You know what I mean?
did.
That game will be done.
And they did it in a cool way. You're looking at it right now on the feed. I know you can't see it, Yariv, but
That's all right.
For the viewers, yeah, they did it in a really awesome way, matched up with the music. If you want to start with, I can go down my notes. I got notes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go down your notes for.
So the graphics to me, they didn't seem like they're photorealistic. It actually reminded me of a Prey or a Borderlands, where there was like a cartoony, not cartoony, it's a wrong word, but stylized look to it.
Yep.
They're not going to make metal look just like a metal that it looks like here. It gave me a lot of Prey vibes.
I got that too, actually.
Well, I mean, that makes sense from their pedigree. Yeah, so I know it was captured in game. So you see him coming from the planet into the ship, sitting down at the pilot's controls, operating controls. Makes me think open universe. You land your ship, you can get out, you walk around, you get back in. you walk around your ship, a la Mass Effect, but you sit at the controls and you're going to be taking off and you're going to be flying your ship around space. And in whatever downtime, you're going to be getting out of your captain's chair and going and doing other things. They showed the starships weren't like Star Trek or Star Wars starships. The rockets had igniters on them that were clearly reminiscent of rocket engines that we currently use. I got my NASA shirt on. With oxidizer and fuel being mixed and then ignited, you're not just hitting the impulse engines and flying away. Could be some interesting things there with fuel and all that stuff. The spacesuits as well. They remind me a lot of you're looking at on the screen right now. They remind me a lot of NASA spacesuits. Bulky, not super slim like SpaceX kind of futuristic looking suits, and more. Everything here looks like it has utility to it. It's not there for aesthetics. If there's a piece of something on the ship, it's there for a reason, whether it looks pretty or not. Similar to how like Battlestar Galactica is kind of view of the future. Less Star Trek, more Stargate, I guess. Yeah, it looks great. November 11th, 2022. That's about right. I don't think it's going to get delayed. I think they'll hit that.
I don't think so.
A long ways to wait. I'm sure we'll see more of it.
I think that was a strategic date, very strategic, and we'll talk about Halo. And I think that they wanted to tier these releases, right?
I think they announced it too early. Though.
They did, but it probably means that the game is probably closer to ready than most games that would be. It's probably not that far off from being done, and I think they're literally leveraging it as the next big holiday release. Right, like if you look at that November 11th date, like typically that is the biggest game you have, comes around between September, October, November, right? So it's like they're doing that for a reason. It seems very strategic. I'm sure the game's not done, but I don't think Bethesda is very interested in releasing a game that's not finished at this point, right?
Yeah,
not their recent history.
Yeah, I want to just jump in here. There's an article on IGN by Joe Screbbles. They got some more details than Todd Howard, but they actually quoted another publication, Launcher, in their story. So give them the clicks. IGN's Joe Screbbles and Launcher. In an interview with Launcher after the game got an in-game trailer, Bethesda Game Studios executive producer Todd Howard summed up the game. It's like Skyrim in space. So we'll stop there for a second, but. A lot of people thought this was going to be something more than Skyrim in space, Fallout, or Skyrim in the future for Fallout, or and Skyrim in space. I mean, you're going to be flying spaceships, you're going to be doing side quests, you're going to be picking up missions, you're going to be doing all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
He continued on later on. They said, "We've known for a while that if and when we do something else, it would be science fiction." The team wanted to truly invent its own universe, so we created a timeline that detailed around 300 years of fictional scientific progress to chart how mankind would reach Starfield's future.
Oh, that's cool.
So they mapped out how we got from here to there.
That brings me up to your observations where they took recent timeline and then iterated technology-wise on how they thought it would evolve to get us to that point, which makes it I was talking about grounded stories. That sounds really interesting to me because I like that attention to detail. Yeah. That gets me excited.
Continue on. As well as with the Skyrim reference, Bethesda managing director Ashley Cheng brought up another famous reference point. For me, Starfield is the Han Solo simulator. You get in a ship, you explore the universe, or you explore the galaxy, and you do fun stuff.
All right. Why don't you just tickle my balls while you're at it?
Like Star Wars, you also have robot pals. The robot in the trailer is called Vasco, named after the explorer Vasco da Gama. Todd Howard said the game will tackle big questions while bringing up ideas of how space and time originated, whether mankind is alone in the universe, and what role religion has around that thinking.
Oh my God!
So,
okay, I'm in on this one.
This game's going to be something special when it comes out, if it ever comes out. It'll come out. I'm just messing around.
No, but I mean, dude, Todd Howard knows how to sell a game. Jesus, dude, that was so well said.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Because I played Fallout, and I really enjoyed Fallout 3. 4,
Hmm.
I didn't care too much about, but Fallout 3,
Oh yeah.
just that opening where you come out
Oh yeah.
of the
You ever?
vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole just the whole appeal of that of like this what happens if nuclear war happens type of thing,
Yeah.
and how well they explored that. Like that gives me excitement towards this concept. It's almost like Interstellar. I feel a little bit mixed in there as well,
Yeah.
which is also a great movie. That's awesome. What a great description.
Yeah.
And
Grounded sci-fi. That's what I want.
yeah, dude, this seems right up. This game sounds like it was made for you. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
it was. I mean, yeah, I'm stoked for this game. I can't wait to go through this trailer a bunch more times and to pick out everything about it. But
I'm gonna have to watch it again and again now because the fact of what you said to me about because like I almost have this like prediction nature that you're gonna go out into the universe being like we don't know where we're going or what we're gonna see out there. Where a lot of sci-fi games like kind of like even Mass Effect, right? They kind of reveal to you there are aliens, there are this.
yep.
This game might be like you don't know what's out there.
It seems kind
Um,
of like what that is. You're an explorer. The robot is an explorer. It's named after a famous explorer.
that's
Um,
sick.
this ship is it's clearly not a combat vessel. It looks more like some kind of cargo or mining vessel or something. It's
I
pretty
wonder if
decent.
like early on you crash somewhere and then you have to fix your ship, and that's how you kind of you know what I mean. Like I could
Yeah.
see that being like the opening of the game type of thing. Oh wow. Okay, I'm getting
Yeah.
excited. I
All
don't
right.
know. Do you want to move on from this?
Yeah, we're gonna have to move on at some point
Okay.
because
Yeah, there's really good stuff to talk about, so we
yeah.
should keep going. All right, definitely. We'll talk about Starfield as there's more info, and we'll
Hmm.
keep bringing it up because
For
I'm
sure. I'm
sold
sure
on
we'll be
it
talking
already.
about it for a long time.
And after this conference, I don't have Game Pass, but I have a feeling by 2022,
Oh my God, Game
I probably
Pass,
will. I probably will. That
best
library
deal in gaming.
will be ridiculous at some point. All right, let's move on to the next one. This game to me was incredibly intriguing. This is Stalker 2,
Hmm.
Heart of Chernobyl. I did not play Stalker 1. I believe you did, Ben.
Well, yeah.
Okay, good. So I did not play the first one. This has been rumored for quite a while about this game. It's been talked about in the background. I will say, watching the trailer, it looked like one of the most next-gen games that I've seen so far. The graphics were stunningly beautiful. The mechanics were pretty fast and tight. First-person shooter, and the world looks severely interesting and beautiful and dark. And it reminded me a lot of Metro in ways. And I am extremely excited about it. It's like a sci-fi. Looks to be open world type of maybe some puzzles in there as well. Weird alien or kind of like a psychological thriller in ways, and I love that type of stuff. Yeah, it just looks really, really good. And again, the mechanics were tighter and faster than I expected, but it looks really good, and I'm excited for it. And if you guys haven't seen the trailer, it's playing. Watch it again on your own time because the audio is really nice for this as well.
Yes. Yep. So audio is a big
Um,
part of the Stalker series. Yeah.
okay, go ahead. Do you want to give some background then?
Yeah. Sure. So Stalker, Shadows of Chernobyl, I believe, and Call of Pripyat are two games that came
I
out long.
think. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What's this game called? Return to
Heart. I
Hearts of
think it's
Chernobyl.
Heart.
Yeah.
Chernobyl.
Shadow of
Heart.
Chernobyl, I believe, is the first game. I'll
Okay.
look that up while we're talking. Actually. Yeah, Shadow of Chernobyl and then Call of Pripyat.
Okay. Cool.
Pripyat are the first two games, and I played them a long time ago. This is they're older games.
Yeah. What year was that actually?
Yeah, look that up for me. These are
Yeah.
games or some of the original games that influences can kind of be felt in my opinion, in like PUBG and modern battle royale games. In that you're scavenging like crazy. You're going through trying to find weapons.
2007 was
2007.
Shadows, and then
Yep.
Call of Pripyat was 2009.
Yeah, I think it was more of an expansion than it was a. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a standalone game, but
That's a long time ago. It's a
yeah.
long time ago.
So these games are dark. They're gritty. They're open world, dangerous. Almost one hit kills. If I remember correctly, you can bleed out. You can get sick. You're going around. There's an anomaly. I don't remember the storyline too well of the game, but there's some sort of anomaly that affected this entire area, and you have to avoid not only humans that are roaming around trying to kill you, but also these mutated beasts Realistic weapon recoil. You can't hold down the trigger, shoot from the hip. None of that
It's
stuff.
almost like Death Stranding in a little bit, right?
Yeah, very similar. It's similar with the you can't get too close
There's
to an
like something,
anomaly.
yeah, there's like something going on there.
Yeah, there's weird gravity things going on. I loved that game. I really wish I remembered more about it, but this looks beautiful. It looks just like I remembered the other original games
Which means
being,
it does not look
which
that
means
way.
it does not look that good.
Yeah.
I love that half the trailer was just a group of the Russian dudes sitting around the fire talking, setting kind of the tone that this is going to be heavy on story, which is really good to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is the Metro series, Metro Exodus, Metro Last Light,
Mm-hmm.
Metro 2033. They're
Yep.
basically Stalker light. They're 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 like baby's first Stalker game. No, not to that extent, but they're
They're
similar
more
in that regard.
arcadey,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Stalker is like you get winged in the leg, you're gonna be limping until you bandage that up. Kind of
Mm.
game.
Oh, that's interesting
Looks
too.
beautiful.
Yeah, man, the graphics were insanely gorgeous for this
Yeah.
game. Really, really beautiful stuff. Seems immersive, probably, maybe even potentially scary to some degree. I don't know what people's like. I don't play horror games, but I like
Mhm.
games with a little bit of creep to them.
Mhm.
Like obviously, Bioshock had the right amount of creep for me, and like Last of Us and stuff like that. So it seems like it's kind of balanced in that thriller, not horror game, but it's got a little bit of fear built into it. But it looked like darkness is a big part of the game too. Like it's going to be eerie. You're going to be in the dark a
Oh yeah.
lot. A lot of probably stealth involved with light,
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah. So my notes I can go down.
Sure.
Xbox. It's a timed exclusive on Xbox and PC. So it's console exclusive on Xbox off the launch, and Game Pass. So another one of those Game Pass games that
Mhm.
you can get it first on Xbox and it's included with your subscription.
So what do we
Why?
think it's going to be out for everything else, or I guess PlayStation essentially? What, a year later? You think?
I think it'd
Maybe
be less
six
than that.
months?
I think it'd be a couple months, less than 6 months, I think. But it's gonna be
Okay.
on Game Pass, so what's the point? Um, Nice attachment system. Call back to Stalker, where you go into menus, very very reminiscent of PUBG. You go into menus, attach different weapon scopes and stuff to guns and destructible environments. Oh, those sweet anomalies I have written down. They look beautiful.
Yeah. What was it?
Excited.
He was like throwing stuff towards the anomalies.
Yeah, so they're in the original game. If again my memory is not so great, but there are these anomalies around the map. Sometimes they would move, sometimes they were stationary, and they looked kind of like the black hole in Interstellar. Since you brought that up
Yeah.
earlier, where it was distorted, and you would come
Yeah.
close to them, and they would cook you, they would kill you, and you could throw things into them to kind of figure out where the anomaly was.
Yep.
So you'd have to find the perimeter of the anomaly to get around it, not by like putting on goggles or something, but by throwing objects and seeing if
It's
they
so
get
cool.
zapped or not.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then
So
he picks up this like kind of blue orb at some
that
point.
seemed new. Yeah, I don't unless I forgot
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
But that's when the lighting actually kind of hit me. I was like, wow, it's like the lighting in this game is ridiculous. So I do expect some ray tracing in this one, let's be honest.
I'm
Um,
thinking ray tracing and everything going forward.
yeah. Yeah. Oh man, this looks gorgeous. All right, I don't know if we need to dig too much into that, but definitely
Nah.
we'll be on top of that game for sure. All right, let's move on to Back for Blood. This game, well, let's just say it'll be available day one on Xbox on Game Pass.
Yep.
Just because a lot of these are, or most of them are. And this is from the creators of Left 4 Dead. So this is another one of like the PVE type of games. They had gameplay shown, which was cool. They had the story elements in the trailer. Just a good trailer. Showed the full in and outs of the game. And overall, it looked fun. It looked like a better graphics version of Left 4 Dead, kind of just a modernized version of it.
It's Left 4
Again,
Dead.
that quick, that quick shoot type of system. A lot of action, a lot of team play, a lot of comedy sprinkled in there to take the tone off of, just nonstop zombies. It seems interesting for me. Left 4 Dead, I like zombie games, but when they're just kind of horde after horde after horde, it gets repetitive for me personally. So I'm interested to see what they do with that in this game. Not a huge draw for me, but I thought the trailer was good, and I thought it looked interesting. It looked like something I might try, or maybe I'll buy on sale or something like that. What do you think, Ben?
So yeah, these are not usually my games, um, especially that this trailer was more announcing a PvP kind of um, zombies versus humans type mode.
Hmm.
Um, but everything I've seen about this game just looks awesome. It reminds me of that game we played in VR, Zomday,
Yeah,
where it was kind
that's a
of
good
it's
one.
over the top weapons and just co-op fighting back the hordes. It's a modern Left 4 Dead. It's the same people who
Yep.
made it. It's beautiful. Game Pass comes out soon.
Why do you
Uh,
think they dropped the Left 4 Dead name and went back for Blood?
I don't think they own
Why
it.
not just? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was like, why not just go Left 4 Dead again?
I don't
And
think they
just
can. I think if they could, they would. They would sell a lot
yeah,
of copies, but
fair enough. 'Cause, yeah, I was gonna say it's
yeah,
the same game essentially, same concept.
it is in all but name Left 4 Dead.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it other than that. It's
No,
not
no.
again not my type of game. I like the original Left 4 Dead. I played it a little bit, but I get bored of those games 'cause it's just an action junkie game for me, and I need a
Yeah,
lot of like progression and deep gameplay beyond that.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break here, and then we'll continue in a bit, and we'll keep going through the Xbox showcase. All right, let's move on to Contraband. This is another new co-op open world game, a new IP, Xbox developed by Avalanche. We don't know that much about it. The trailers, kind of just a cinematic trailer, maybe about heists. Not sure exactly at this point. What do you think? What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's by Avalanche. They make Just Cause, which is one of my favorite series. Um, no, I guess I won't say one of my favorites. I love the Just Cause games.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah, I
Mad
should have said that.
Max, I believe they did Mad Max
Yep,
as well.
I like that
So,
game a lot.
co-op open worlds, they've got that down. There was no co-op in Just Cause or Mad Max, but the the seeds were there. I think they could have done it with more budget, more time.
Well, the
But
co-op, that's why I guessed heist.
yeah,
By the fact they
it's
say
and
co-op.
there's blueprints and plans for some sort of
Yep,
treasure or something um, in the trailer.
and it's
I mean, it
called
looks good.
Contraband.
Yeah, clearly very. There's that too. Clearly very early. Looks like similar kind of aesthetic to Far Cry 6, honestly, in like a
Mm.
1970s, 1980s um, island country, but um,
It's a great point actually with
yeah,
Contraband and whatnot. Could be a Pablo Escobar type of theme there.
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it looks interesting. It's just a quick little trailer, but
Okay. Yeah, I
keep
don't have
going
much
on.
to say.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I don't think I wrote more about that. Open world co-op, Avalanche game and Game Pass. So
Yeah. Game Pass again. Be ready for it. No date on that one though, right?
I didn't see one.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. Okay. No date on it, which means it's very early preview and probably my guess is at least late 2022 if they didn't show us anything.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Sea of Thieves. This is the new DLC, Pirates of the Caribbean themed with Jack Sparrow. I didn't play Sea of Thieves though. To be honest with you, I want to.
Dude,
My buddy Richie.
we should play.
I kind of regret not buying it. It was on sale for $15 the other day, and I should have picked it up. It's a game that looks really interesting to me. My buddy Richie, well, our friend Richie actually, he'll be on this show at some point.
Hmm.
He plays it regularly. Maybe we'll bring him on to talk about this actually.
Yeah.
Bring him on. Well, he plays it regularly. It's a beautiful looking game, an open world exploratory, like kind of treasure hunting pirate game, and now you're adding a story DLC element of a character that, quite frankly, everybody likes. And they're doing it right. They're not like half-assing this. Like it's like Jack Sparrow as he is in the movies, you know. So it just looks cool. It looks interesting. It looks like a way to kind of reignite the user base for that and get people playing it again. I don't think they plan on abandoning it. I know Microsoft loves this game personally. Yeah, what do you think, Ben?
I thought it's awesome, and it's a great pairing. It's when you think about it, you're like, yeah, of course they're gonna do that. Um, whoever's doing the Jack Sparrow voice is close to Johnny Depp. Not quite there, but close.
Yeah, it's pretty good though.
It's pretty good. Good enough that I had to really think about it whether it was him.
Mm-hmm.
The story looks awesome. It looks like it's ripped right out of one of the movies, one of the better movies at least. And Sea of Thieves is a game I've never got into, but that's mostly due to my being antisocial and not playing.
That's
with
my
other people.
problem with. That's my problem with it.
If we can get me, you, Richie, we get into a game and we play on a ship.
Is it? I think it's crossplay too between PC and
Definitely
Xbox.
is. Yeah, I think it always has been. Another Game Pass game, but it's one of those things that's a match made in heaven. We'll talk about another one of them coming up. That you just think, yeah, those two things, they of course they go together as expansions.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it, and it looks beautiful. Sea of Thieves is they're supporting it. It reminds me of No Man's Sky level of support, where they just keep adding to it and adding to it. It's disappointing when it came out, and they're just adding and adding and adding and. Yeah, I would love
it makes me want to pick it up. Yeah. Honestly, maybe that is a game. I mean, we keep talking about playing games together online, and I am so antisocial. Like I play most single player games, but I love pirate games. Like I was even saying about Assassin's Creed. My favorite Assassin's Creed is the Black Flag one, and not by accident.
Yeah, that game's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I love the whole pirates thing. I always have since I was a kid. Like even my Legos, that was like one of my favorite ones was just pirates.
Well, I think speaking of Assassin's Creed 4, I think Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones were they showed off at at the same time, and now we have
potentially,
and now we have like the 15th expansion for Sea of Thieves, and we have heard nothing of Skull and Bones.
I don't even remember Skull and Bones.
It's the combat, the ship combat from Assassin's Creed 4 in a game.
Oh, right. Yeah, they probably abandoned it.
I haven't heard anything about it in a while. I think they were announced around the same time.
Yeah, I think they abandoned it because they're like, well, why don't we just build every Assassin's Creed game has this built into it. Why do we need to make a dedicated game for it? Yeah, and again, this is where Ubisoft kind of kills me because their originality is just goes right out the window a lot of times. Where like Sea of Thieves is its own thing, and that's why you can get continuous support. Right? They're not like a one and done thing, and that is what I was trying to say about Valhalla earlier. Is like they are trying to be like, no. We built an engine here. You know, we built this rating engine. We built this Viking world. We plan on supporting it, but I honestly think we're going to see another break from Assassin's Creed and another revamping of some sort soon.
I mean, I don't know what the sales were like on Valhalla, but
fantastic actually.
Were they?
They're the best-selling Assassin's Creed game ever.
You will not see a break.
Yeah, but if they do it again, they're gonna see a drop off. There's almost no way.
Well, I mean, until they do, they're gonna keep counting their dollars.
Yeah, you're probably right. But for me, it's like a game. I found that game so stale. All right, let's move on. Though we got plenty more to talk about. All right, next on the list, and we'll talk about this very shortly. Yakuza Like a Dragon, available today on Xbox Game Pass. This is obviously just a nice addition to Game Pass. Again, I have not played the Yakuza series, but I do know that this is an RPG version of the game. A lot of spunk with this game, maybe say it that way. Just like comedy with action. Probably a game I would enjoy, to be honest with you, and again, more incentive to get into Game Pass. You get to try all these things. So, Ben, have you played this one?
I know nothing about the series. Never played it. Never even looked into it. Don't really have an opinion on it, but I do have an opinion on is 7 games coming to Game Pass right now.
Yeah. They're just killing it.
I do not know how they're making money. They cannot be making money.
Well, they're probably losing money to try to catch up to PlayStation because PlayStation is still winning this console generation as of right now. It's going to change.
But they need
they
to
own the mind
figure
share.
Out the future because Xbox
is coming.
Is killing it.
They're speeding forward.
Speaking of, just as a side note, this conference, games. Talk for 20 seconds. Game.
It reminded me of PlayStation's press conferences from a few years back where they just came in game after game after game after game after game.
And then they stopped and they started doing all these crazy talks. I mean, we're probably like 40 minutes into the conference at this point. Still no Phil Spencer.
Yes.
Like,
did you make a note of when he came in? I forget.
Phil
all
Spencer
point
came in at 60 minutes at an hour.
No, after what game do you remember?
Oh, he came in right before they showed off that last one. I forget
Okay.
this.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get into that soon. Okay. Let's move on from Yakuza Like a Dragon. Let's talk about Battlefield a little bit. They revealed the first gameplay trailer. So I was a little down on this. I will say that gameplay trailer was sick. It looks really good. It's still not a game of probably. It's only online games are not a big draw for me. I think it was like 130, 140 consecutive players at once. Some huge number.
124.
124. So again, huge battles here. The weather system looked ridiculously beautiful, and it looks like it's going to be a very interesting sandbox. So that is at least some kind of leverage that they have to get people in at that $70 price point. But I think with what's about to happen with Halo, it's going to hurt them a little bit more as well. I will say I do know people love this game, so maybe they do expect to sell to that core audience, and maybe they won't sell Call of Duty numbers, but they'll make money, just a guaranteed $60, $70 or whatever. But I think they were a little bit in trouble. I mean, the game looks gorgeous, but again, I don't know what about this game is going to make you want to play this over other games that are available that have a free-to-play market or a model that, quite frankly, do a lot of similar things. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'm of a similar mind to you, and this game gave me crazy Battlefield 4 vibes, and Battlefield 2 vibes. So much so that, weirdly enough, the YouTube algorithm, whatever that is, recommended the Battlefield 4 launched or reveal trailer to me yesterday.
Funny.
So I watched it, and it's so similar to this trailer. So much so they use that elevator joke as well, where they get in the they're fighting like crazy, then they all get in the elevator, and then it's quiet and it's playing music while they're going up the elevator. Like the same thing. The game looks absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous.
The weather effects are literal or game changing, pun intended.
Yeah.
Where as long as they're randomly generated and they don't come in at the same time every map, but
Which would you say that that's their competitor to like what Fortnite does and Warzone, where it closes in? They're like, we're just going to throw weather elements in there.
they've done something similar before with their Levolution in Battlefield 3 and 4, where you could take 4, I think, where you could take buildings down, or a dam would break and the level would get flooded, and now you're playing in like a flooded water level. Or as a dust storm that comes in and it's completely covered. But it always happened relatively at the same time. You could trigger the building to come down, or you could trigger the dam to break by hitting it enough with tanks. But if these weather effects mean maybe sometimes they don't show up, maybe the match starts right away and there's a tornado, so all your pilots jumping in planes, now your air cover is useless because you're not going to be able to fly a jet around that. So I think it opens up.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for not so much new gameplay elements, because we've had bad weather, but being able to, halfway through a match have to adjust because something you didn't expect is happening, and there's a tornado on top of site B, and you desperately need to get to site B. What are you going to do now? Like, how are you going to adjust to that? Are you going to try and flank all the way around and capture A, not go through B? Are you gonna, sit back and wait for it to dissipate? I mean, there's a lot of things that could open up. It's got a grappling hook. Gotta love grappling hook.
I feel like every game has that now.
Let me check my notes. Oh, the maps look absolutely ridiculously big.
Yeah, huge.
Ridiculously huge. Fuck yes, grappling hook. That's number 4.
Huge draw. That's probably why you need the grappling hook. Is how the hell are you going to get around that map?
Wingsuit, baby. Wingsuit.
Yeah, well. Let me ask you this: do you think that they have a fallback here to be like, okay, if this game doesn't sell like we need it to, we're going to go free to play?
So, I am absolutely blown away that this was not a Game Pass game. I thought for sure that's how they were going to get around that $70 price point. I thought it was going to be...
They're sticking hard to it. There has to be a reason. I must see something internally.
I don't see how they can...
How do they compete?
I don't understand how they compete with Warzone. Like, this is clearly going to be a better multiplayer game, in my opinion, than Warzone would be, or Call of Duty multiplayer is. But how do you tell somebody's parents, you guys spend $70 for this game, and you could get an almost as good game for free.
Well, this is kind of what I thought in my head. I'm like, okay, majority of games they sell 80% of their copies within the first 2 weeks, right? So maybe in their mind, like we capture that audience, we build out our reputation, we make our money in the beginning, we let it go for a while, and then we open it up free to play later on, or maybe on Game Pass, and then we give everybody who bought in early, we give them a bunch of free like online stuff. Right.
I just don't see how you sell a multiplayer only game for $70. No campaign.
I don't get it either.
There's no side missions.
What do you think if they charged like 35 for it? If they charged, if it was cheap, it was $30. Would it be an issue?
No. If they charged $40 for it, this wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Battlefield 4 had a campaign, Battlefield 3 had a campaign, Battlefield Hardline campaign, and they were all full price games. This is also a full price game. What are you giving? What are you adding? This is a more expensive game than any of them. What are you giving in this game that you didn't get in the others?
I agree with you. I don't know.
You got to be, if you're subtracting something, you've got to add something.
Yes. There has to be, maybe there's a key, maybe they expect the narrative to kind of play out in these open world maps in a unique way that the other games don't have.
That never works out.
It never happens, right? It never happens.
I think they're in trouble. That doesn't work out.
I think they're in trouble, but not in trouble as in Battlefield is gone. But they might lose at this iteration.
I think they're going to see
go back to the drawing board.
One of the best reviewed games that sells no copies is what I think you're going to
Yes. Like, I think that's a great way of putting it. I mean, we were talking about the Apex developer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God,
Respawn.
Titanfall, right? Respawn. Thank you. So Titanfall, right? It's a very good game. It did not sell well. That's kind of what I could see happening here. You know,
that's a shame, man. Because this is great. This looks beautiful. They do stupid shit though, man. They do stupid shit. Like Battlefield 5 had a battle royale mode. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't.
You didn't because it came out like 4 months after the game came out.
I remember now.
So
yeah, because it wasn't ready and they reacted late.
And it wasn't terrible. It was fine. It was good, but
nobody knew about it.
Nobody knew about it. Your people are already done playing that game. After 4 months, no, they're not going to come back to it, especially when there's other games, other free games.
All right,
but goddamn, it looks good.
Yeah, but the trailer was sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I thought they were gonna go Game Pass, man. I would have bet your life on that.
Maybe that's in the cards for them later. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a backup plan.
They may need to change their tune because
they're spending a lot of money on this game. It's not like they're half-assing the development of it. I mean, they have 5 teams working on it simultaneously. So
do they for Battlefield?
I believe so. So that's a large budget for this game, and if they don't hit sales, they're definitely in trouble. Again, I don't want to say in trouble because they have money. They're not going to go broke overnight, but they're going to have to shift. They're going to have to change, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on. Let's just talk about this one briefly. This is the 12 minutes trailer. I didn't even really fully get this, but it seems like kind of like a time lapse, story based type of game. I saw James McAvoy name come up.
And Defoe.
Defoe as well. I missed some of the names popped up there. But Hollywood actors. I like story stuff. I like good gameplay. I'm sorry, I like good narrative stuff. So potentially interesting, but I didn't see anything from that trailer that made me think this is what I'm gonna play. But I like that the variety. I like that it was there.
Yeah, Daisy Ridley is in it. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be a great story. I think it's going to be different. I don't think this is going to be a game that's you're going to play for like 40 hours. Yeah, similar.
Like Telltale, like a point and click.
Yeah, I think it'll. Actually, it's tough to tell, but yeah, I think something like that, making dialogue decisions.
I like that stuff too.
When you're in a time loop, maybe altering your day to try and make something different.
You saw things happening, like people getting arrested, and then and you having to cope with those problems, kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're accused of murdering your wife in this game.
Okay.
So you're
kind of got that a little bit from Joe.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know whether you're trying to prove your innocence, keep her from getting murdered, all of it above. I just don't.
You think maybe it has to do anything with time travel?
I don't think so. I don't think they're ever going to explain the time. It's going to be like a
12
Groundhog
minutes.
Day kind of thing. Yeah,
12 minutes could. That's what that's what I was thinking. Like a Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, I think
like
you're
12
just gonna
minutes.
replay it. They're not gonna try and explain it away like Star Trek or anything like that. They're just
Okay.
gonna.
All right. Well, let's move on from that one. We'll keep an eye on that one. See. Oh, it's out August 19th. So
I mean, yeah, we're
find
not
it.
gonna have too much longer to.
Yeah. So we'll see how that does. And with the with the name of big actors in it though, maybe it'll spark some interest from people.
It's definitely gonna be
Big
narrative
budget.
heavy. I mean, I don't think the
Yeah.
gameplay is gonna be anything to write home about.
Be a Netflix game by the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, let's move on. So this one was a big title. Like I think a lot of people were waiting for Psychonauts 2. Got new gameplay and story trailer launching August 25th. So that was really nice. And again, I think you were talking about this earlier. Kind of have a trailer come out and then a release date that's like shortly afterwards, so you'll be able to play it at the end of the summer.
Game
I
Pass.
did play Game Pass as well.
12 minutes with Game Pass also, by the way.
Oh, right. Actually, yeah, you're right. Exclusive as well. I think it's a console exclusive as well.
Yeah.
Or the launch is exclusive. So, and Psychonauts, I played the first one. I enjoyed it. Platformer, quirky, funny, really interesting looking. I don't think I'll probably play this one again, to be honest with you, but I think it's a need that Microsoft definitely was filling. They did not have anything like this really on the last generation. They kind of missed out, and this is kind of a game for everyone. Maybe you can say it's competing with Ratchet and Clank, though I don't want to necessarily put it up against that. It's just kind of a different level of fidelity and quality there. But it's a Tim Schafer, I believe, unless I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, I know he did the original. So I think this was a Kickstarter at one point also. So definitely a big release for Microsoft. And I think something Phil Spencer talked about and how they want to kind of hit all these boxes. I think it looked cool. I mean, I think the trailer is cool. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks interesting. I played the original a long time ago. I did not play the VR game. It reminds me of the original, which makes sense because it's a sequel. But I don't know if it's something I'll pick up. If it's getting crazy reviews, then I'll give it a go.
Potentially.
But yeah, these platforming games are not usually not something I spend a lot of time on.
I will say the original was an action-heavy platformer, so I enjoyed it to some degree. But I used to try to play
what
everything.
everybody wants out of Psychonauts 2. I'm sure the Psychonauts fans will enjoy it. I'm not opposed to it. I may give it a try. We'll see how it is.
Yeah, it seems to me more like maybe it'll sell amongst younger. Yeah. I think it's for everybody. I don't think it's just for kids, but I do think it's again filling that need. The fact that they have a lot of violent games that are like heavily violent games.
And I don't think this is a big budget game, so I think they'll make their money back.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yep. I think that's also a good point. All right, let's move on.
So
I guess we kind of mentioned this. Yeah.
This is where Pete Hines shows up now.
Okay.
But still no Phil Spencer. Pete Hines from Bethesda is now. We've had 2 Bethesda executives.
Yeah, I mean, they paid a lot of money for him, so it makes sense. So 10 more iconic Bethesda games arrived today to Game Pass. I don't have that list. I don't know if you have any.
I don't have the list up. I don't have it.
That's
I don't
okay.
have it handy. Yeah.
Look into it.
But what we do have is the Doom Eternal patch.
Yes.
That brings 4K 60 and ray tracing to the game on the Series X, as well as a 120 frames per second mode. Obviously, you're not going to do 4K ray tracing with that on the console, but you will probably get 1080p ray tracing, 120 frames per second.
You can do 60 frames a second though. I mean, for that game, you want 120, I guess, in a lot of ways, but
60's fine for a console.
Plenty.
I didn't play it. I played the original. Loved the original. Just never got around to playing the sequel. I will.
Yeah.
At some point. It's one of those games I know will hold up because it's based off a game from 40 years ago. So
yeah, but it's also very tight mechanics.
For that game. The shooting is tight.
Right.
Tight.
Well, those are the games that last over time. Quite frankly, I can still play BioShock as well.
Yep.
Like games that are just designed really nicely. I even brought it up like Super Mario 3. That game, it's a simple game, but it's a very tight game. You can play it today, and you don't need to update it. So when a game is done right, I mean, it definitely holds up. So this is probably going to spike sales for that game to some degree. I wouldn't be surprised because it's going to look prettier, so it's going to modernize. Yeah, let's add that. It's also on Game Pass.
All Bethesda games are on Game Pass now at this point, I believe.
It's ridiculous, but it makes sense. I mean, I don't care that much about Doom Eternal, at least for me personally. But if it was on Game Pass, I would try it. Let's be honest.
Yep.
All right, let's mention Fallout 76. I'm wearing the shirt right now. I have not played Fallout 76. Again, online games do not really do it for me. I like Fallout branding more than I do Fallout 76, and I do like the other games more. In Fallout Shelter, actually, I put a lot of time into that game as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I put a lot into that.
That's what they gave you between the announce and release of Fallout 4. They said, "Here's Fallout Shelter."
I loved it personally. I played that more than every other Fallout game combined.
Mic feedback off. Mic on. Mic feedback
yeah, that's
on.
out. There is new DLC coming forward. They're still supporting it. From what I understand, the game is much better today than it was at launch.
That's what I heard.
So if you haven't played it, probably worth checking out.
Mic off. Mic
and it's on Game
feedback
Pass.
off.
So what do you got to lose?
Mic on.
Yeah,
Mic feedback
Brotherhood
on.
Brotherhood of Steel expansion called
Yes.
Steel Rain. Looks like a lot more single player content than you would normally get out of Fallout 76. It looks like it's very story heavy, very narrative heavy. And
A lot of those suits, right? The steel suits. I saw that was
Brotherhood of Steel, yeah. You see them in Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and the original Fallouts.
Yeah.
Jeez. And the Pits expansion, or the Pits expansion, where they go back to Pittsburgh, which was the setting of Fallout 3. So
cool.
That one's coming later, but I when that came out, here are my notes from when they started showing the Pit expansion, which I'll put on the screen now. It was is this Gears? Next Fallout? Exclamation point. Nope, not Fallout. Can't be Fallout. Oh, Fallout 76. Dude, I thought they were announcing Fallout 5.
Nah, I feel like it's too much with Starfield. You know what I mean? Like, why blow your load there? They still have Oblivion to show off. But it would have been wild.
Dude, I freaked out in my living room. I got Oliver. He's in his Achievement Unlocked shirt. I'm like bouncing him around. I'm like, it's Fallout. And then I'm like, oh, it's Fallout 76. Great.
Maybe eventually we'll have to try Fallout 76. It's probably a decent game at this point.
I heard it's actually pretty good. I loaded it up once.
And you probably would like
during
it.
a free weekend, and I got like 5 minutes into it, and then I'm like, I just don't have time for it. And I had nobody to play with. I didn't want to play a multiplayer only game by myself.
Yeah, that's why a big reason I love playing games by myself, and that's why I'm never gonna play this game. All right, let's move on from Fallout 76. We got a lot more fun stuff to talk about here. Let's talk about Hades. This is obviously a game. I think it won Game of the Year some category, but it was a Game of the Year candidate for sure. It's going to be arriving on Game Pass on August 13th. So again, another big name game. This is a roguelike, I believe. I have not played it personally. Does seem like something I might actually try, especially inevitably when I do sign up for Game Pass at this point. I think this is just good news. And again, this is kind of what I thought was like the lull in the conference, but I think strategically it was that they knew they were hitting you with a lot of big stuff, and then they hit you kind of with Fallout 76, and just kind of updates the Game Pass and just stuff you already know. So I think this is good. This is great. I mean, this is a very good game added to Game Pass again. So have you played Hades?
I have not. But it is a game that I've kept telling myself I'm going to play.
Same.
If I still worked overnights, like I used to, sit on the floor for 12 hours, I probably would have played it by now on my Switch. It seems like that type of game. It's just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But it won Game of the Years everywhere.
I think it did. Yeah, it won a bunch of Game of the Years. If I remember.
So I don't know an awful lot about. I know it's a roguelike game. With a pretty decent narrative, but that many people can't be that wrong. So yeah, I gotta give it a try at some point, and just so I have an opinion on it. It looks beautiful. Again, I love Bastion. I love Transistor. So
I didn't play Transistor. I did love Bastion.
It's great. It's just different. I think Transistor's. Yeah, I don't know, but I think this is a mix between Transistor and Bastion based on the trailer I'm looking at now. But looks great.
And it did very well. So check it out. I mean, again, Game Pass just continues to prove to be a value. All right, let's move on to the next game. This is Somerville, a new game for Xbox coming to Game Pass in 2022. I believe the story has something to do with a father trying to save his family. Just really stylized, looks in the vein of Inside. Looks really pretty, in my opinion. Looks really interesting, ominous. One of those really cool stories that potentially is like maybe simple, but also kind of deep and maybe emotionally profound. I'm making a bunch of assumptions here, but again, I just thought it looked really interesting. And it's one that I probably will look to check out. Inevitably when I do have Game Pass. Seems like a game that's worth trying for sure. Ben, did you get a chance to watch this trailer?
I did watch it. Like you said, it looks like it reminded me of Limbo Inside. Seems like it's gonna be super story heavy, which is our kind of game. Yeah. It's got a dog in it, so automatically gets points for me. I'm sure it won't be too long.
Probably 10 to 20 hour game.
Yeah, Game Pass. Art style Game Pass 2022. So yeah, it looks great. I'll give it a try probably.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Should we save Halo, or should we go into it now?
We can save it.
I feel like let's save it. We'll come back to it because we have it next on the list, and I feel like we should trudge through some of these other ones real quick, and then we'll end on Halo.
Okay.
All right, let's get through it real quick. Okay, so we have Diablo 2 Resurrected. So this is just new gameplay trailer came out. Official release date is September 23rd. This is Diablo 2 remastered. It looks pretty. I never played Diablo really. Probably a game I should have played. I love Blizzard games, but maybe I'll play it now. Now that it's getting remastered. Ben, have you played it? You interested in playing it?
I played Diablo 3 a little bit on my Switch when it came out. I played their competitor at the time when Diablo came out with Torchlight.
Right.
A game in a similar vein. I think I was we were a little young when the Diablo games were coming out. I was more of a console gamer back then. I think it was.
I played StarCraft and Warcraft.
Yeah,
that was my Blizzard games.
Real-time games. Diablo never hooked me. My tastes have changed in games. I am very much looking forward to playing this. It looks beautiful.
The graphics were nice.
Yeah, it looks
good
like
lighting.
And it's one of those games like in the Halo Master Chief Collection where you can tab back and forth between the graphics by hitting a button.
Yeah.
So you can see what it looked like compared to what it looks like now. Cross progression, co-op. There was no co-op in the original Diablo 2. So
it'll sell well.
It's gonna
sell well.
Yeah, I mean, I find it very interesting that they're doing this when Diablo 4 is supposed to be coming out very soon.
Well, it seems to me actually really, I was just about to say that, it seems very similar to what, and we'll talk about Age of Empires. I mean, they remastered all the Age of Empires leading up to Age of Empires 4. It's like almost like you're building momentum, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're giving your audience a little bit, and it's probably not that expensive for them to do these. And they probably make a bunch of money off of them. Like they definitely make their money off of them immediately because you have like a guaranteed audience that's like whoever is pre-ordered Diablo 4, right, or whoever's going to pre-order it is going to buy this game, and the game's already made for the most part. Yeah. So probably a good idea. All right, let's move forward. Let's move quickly on some of these because we have more exciting games to talk about. Confirmed for a sequel, oh man, what was the
Plague
title
Tale
for this?
Innocence.
Yeah, Plague Tale Innocence.
This one's a Plague Tale Requiem, but the original was Plague Tale Innocence.
Yes, sorry, that's why I got screwed up. So Requiem, I didn't play the first one. It looked beautiful, but it wasn't really like again, I don't think it has enough violence for me personally. Launching 2022. I love violent games. I can't help it. Will also be available on Game Pass. So there you go. Again, 2022, loading up with more Game Pass games. What do you think, Ben?
Never played the original. It seems like my kind of game. I'm not as bloodthirsty as you are, but again, there's so many games that have been out in the last couple of years. My life's been a little crazy, and it just fell through the cracks. I know the physics system in it was pretty crazy. Something I would love to try, but
well, Game Pass, right?
Game Pass, everything's Game Pass.
Seems like you will try it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful. I'm sure that the rat physics will be back in this game, which was their big
Yeah,
selling
that was
point.
the big thing. Yeah, that's the big thing I remembered from it was the rats, um, which seems cool, but again, not for me so much.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Shredders. This game is available Game Pass December 2021, so soon. So I think actually that date is quite appropriate for this game because it's a snowboarding game. And the real reason we wanted to bring it up, to be honest with you, one, I think it looks really pretty. And it reminds me of SSX 1080. I used to play snowboarding games like a little bit when I was younger. They were fun. They're always fun. I think this is a need that hasn't existed for a while, and I think it's why Microsoft showed it off. It's kind of like the extreme sports game. We don't get a ton of them today, so I have a feeling this game is actually probably going to sell pretty well. New IP as well there.
Yeah. No, I have fond memories of playing SSX Tricky on the original Xbox, and the music in that game's crazy. Soundtrack's going to be key in this game.
That's a good point.
Back then, it was all about the leaderboards, high scores. There was no real multiplayer in there. It was just you do a run, post your score. Now, obviously, that things are a little different. But the best they can channel Tricky is the way of getting me to play this game.
Yeah, and I feel like it kind of did that for me. It took me back, so something interesting. All right, let's move on to Slime Rancher coming in to Game Pass in 2022. This is like a first-person shooter. Looks like a puzzle game more than a shooter. Not very violent. Apparently, there was a first one. I never heard of the first one, but this does seem like another one of those games for everyone type of checkbox that they're trying to do. Looks interesting. Looks pretty. I mean, it's got nice graphics. Probably not for me, but I will say it could be a nice hit for Microsoft to put on Game Pass. Again, it's just more about them just kind of hitting all the marks there. What do you think, Ben?
I have no opinion on this game.
Yep, that's kind of what I expect.
It looked weird.
Yep, it looks weird. It looks like it's not for us, but it's probably for somebody. If
I went to the kitchen to make a bottle for Oliver during this. I just didn't care.
Quite appropriate. All right, let's move on to another game. This game I am personally very excited on about Atomic Heart. It will be available on Game Pass from day one. That makes it quite appealing because I was planning on probably buying this game anyway. So I don't think they had a date for it. I might have missed it, Ben. I didn't see a release date. At least I don't remember.
Not sure. We'll find out in a minute.
Yeah. So this seems more like a first-person action adventure. Looks like maybe some time travel elements, sci-fi, story-heavy game. Looks just really cool, really stylistic. Looks like something out of like BioShock meets like Fallout, kind of in some kind of weird way, and just like there's all these weird robotics, and just looks really interesting. It's right up my alley, and I just really liked it. The trailer was cool. I didn't really fully understand it, but I don't care. I love when I have no idea what, like when I played BioShock for the first time, I had no idea what I was getting into, and that's what made that game even better. So I'm kind of expecting that a little bit with Atomic Heart here. What do you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it actually gave me vibes of a game. I'm not sure if you played it, called Singularity.
I have not.
It was a first-person shooter that had some time mechanics. You went to this island. You had a device that could reverse time or change or accelerate time in certain parts of the level. So if there was like a stairwell that had been destroyed over the last 50 years, you would hit it with your time thing and it would reverse back. So it seems like that seems like something that Kojima would make here, in my mind. If he did a first-person shooter like this, it's just weird.
Yeah,
But
and it looks good.
It's probably gonna be good.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like the gameplay is really solid too, and it has the right balance of like atmospheric action to and obviously I was making jokes about violence, but it does have violence, but also not over the top violence. And it doesn't look like killing is like just the only thing in there, right? Which I love. Now again, I brought BioShock again, but that was one of the best things about the initial BioShock is that you got to hack the level, and the level itself was the puzzle. And I think that's something that a lot of games miss. And this game seems like it's going to have, at least some interactivity there. That's going to be pretty interesting. All right, let's move on to Age of Empires 4. I personally, Ben, I know you haven't really played these games, but Age of Empires 4, in my opinion, looks sick. I'm a big real-time strategy fan. I know you like real-time strategy as well. I think the trailer looks amazing. It looks like more Age of Empires, but we did get a date, which I was really excited about, October 28th. This will be a day one play for me. Again, I'm just really excited about this. It just looks like Age of Empires on a level of fidelity that I have not been able to experience. And I've been dying for a really good strategy game. I've kind of been playing around with stuff, but I really want like a new one. It looks like the battles are bigger, the customization's bigger. Obviously just a really beautiful engine. And I imagine this is going to be a game they're probably going to support heavily for the next probably 6 to 10 years is my guess, and I expect some DLC and expansion packs to come from this as well. But I love that I finally got a date for it because I've been dying for a date. So October 28th is soon enough for me, and again, I'll be playing this game 100% for sure. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I was not a big Age of Empires guy back in the day. I actually played a series called Empire Earth, which is a similar game, mostly because they went into the future.
Where they did everything.
Yes, so you started in the very past and you're in the very distant future. I'm more of a science fiction guy, so similar games. They played the same. When this comes out, we'll have to get my friend Brandon on. He puts about, I don't know, 50 hours a month into Age of Empires 2 HD on Steam.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a nut with that game. So we'll have to get him on for some takes.
Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we definitely will.
That's about all. That's the only game.
You think you'll play this?
Give an opinion on. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll play this one together.
Yeah, I'll play the hell out of
this online. Game. Okay. Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. Because I played the shit out of the remastered 3, and I didn't want to go back too far back to the older games, but I might because they're super cheap. But like I'm dying for a high fidelity Age of Empires. Those games are so old at this point that I'm really excited to see the lessons learned over time. So, all right, let's move on. This is a game that personally was very interesting to me. Stylistically, this was an awesome trailer, like really awesome trailer. Looks like an indie game, new game coming to Xbox in 2022 called Replaced. Kind of speaks a little bit to Blade Runner. You look like maybe to be some kind of detective or bounty hunter. Side scroller pixel art game, but gorgeous pixel art, like some of the best I've ever seen. And honestly, I've seen a lot of these games kind of like Below and a lot of these indie games that kind of promise a lot. There's also Inside, which I'm really excited about. It's more of a PlayStation topic. We'll talk about that later. Or I'm sorry, not Inside. Oh my God, The Little Devil Inside. That game I'm really interested in. That was also a Kickstarter. I don't know what the deal is with this game. I just found out about it. I really hope that it's good because this game looked beautiful to me. It looks like a perfect game to play on the Switch, but I've been disappointed with a lot of these games. But I'm excited about this one. Platform stuff, the action in it looks really cool. Looks like there's boss battles and like kind of a melee system in there. I'm into it. I'm totally into it. Ben, what'd you think?
Not really my kind of game. These retro games, pixel art, they're not really my thing.
Usually they're not for me either.
Yeah, I can see why you would be interested in it. Never really been a Metroidvania or side scroller kind of guy.
Yeah, honestly, typically I am not either. I mean, unless you want to go real, far back to when I started playing video games, right? Nintendo and
you had no choice back then.
Yeah, exactly. It's all we had. So I enjoyed those games back in the day. I'm just hoping this game is actually as good as the trailer seems. Typically, that doesn't happen a lot. So I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I was still excited. But I just love the style of it overall.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to The Outer Worlds 2. They had a reveal cinematic trailer. I actually have not gotten to play The Outer Worlds yet, though I very much want to. And now with Starfield coming out, I feel like maybe this is an appropriate time to play because then I can compare them a little bit more because it seems like Starfield is I don't want to say competitor, but and it's not a reaction either, but, kind of Outer Worlds kind of filled that void for a lot of Fallout fans. This trailer was hilarious. They were super open and honest about
honest trailer ever.
It was incredible. Almost like they were asked to make a trailer, and they're like, "We don't really want to make a trailer for a game we haven't built."
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just went a super opium and obvious. But watching it made me want to play Outer Worlds 1 because it was so funny that I'm like, I'm missing out on good writing.
That is the kind of humor in Outer Worlds.
Yes.
So I played a little bit of Outer Worlds. It clearly Fallout inspired, Fallout New Vegas inspired. It's got the Obsidian guys there. I don't know how they have time to make all these games, but funny game. Humor's there. It's not open universe. It's narrative, first person shooter,
Which I like.
Yeah, great gunplay.
Like
They've
that.
got VATS all but name.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what happened. They said we want a trailer for 2. And they said we don't have anything to show you, and they're like, just put up a logo. So my notes for this were, I think this was a dig at Fable, to be honest, because when they opened the trailer, it opens with what looked like Fable, because I was like, all my notes said, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh
Dude,
yeah,
that's what I thought too.
Fable
It's so
motherfuckers
funny.
is what I have written." Maybe not. Dot. Oh, Outer Worlds 2. And then I said actually a LOL trailer. So
Yeah. That's a great point. I actually thought it was Fable also.
when they first, I think that was a dig at Fable.
Because it showed like the little creature.
the
with
little creatures, the Vista, and then they
Yep.
had the Fable logo, and that's all they've shown in a year. So I think that's kind of what they were like. Whatever, we'll just do what everyone else does.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, they play that so well though. You know, like dramatic shot where you can only see the back, the back of the main character.
I mean,
it's so good.
100%. How
Yeah.
many trailers have we seen where that? Like the original Halo 3 trailer was like that, where it's just
Oh,
or
man.
Halo 4, where it was
Yeah.
just Master Chief standing open and it had nothing to do with the game when it came out.
It's so good. All right, so definitely check out that trailer just for
Just to
comedic
laugh.
value. Yeah. I will say it does make me want to play Outer Worlds 1, so I probably will play it. It was effective. I'm probably going to play Outer Worlds 1 now after watching that. So,
It's
which
a
is
good game.
relatively cheap. Yeah.
As what I played, it's really good. That's where I'm going to play.
Yeah, yeah. Seems like one. I might actually end up liking that more than Fallout, to be honest with you, from what I saw. All right, let's move on to Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to Xbox July 27th. This is already out on PC. The big news here is that there is a Top Gun DLC, which is
Hells
a amazing
yes.
compliment to this game. I will say this is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, as far as photorealism. Just absolutely stunning. It's a game I would love to play in VR. I don't even know if my computer can play it at max. I don't
Not
think
in
it
VR,
can.
Not in VR, it can't.
No, it can't. But it is a gorgeous, gorgeous game. And I think Microsoft is definitely hitting a home run by supporting this. This is a niche audience, but there are a lot of people who love this. You know, flight sticks. Like, I know people who don't play video games at all, but just want to play a flight simulator. Ben, I can tell you already that I can tell already that you are severely excited for Top Gun.
Oh my god, I am.
Have you played
huge-
Flight Simulator at all?
No.
But now you will probably.
So, sorry, just making sure my kid's still alive. Yep, still in his crib. No, I never played.
We are going 2 hours strong again,
I know.
so we're on the verge for that.
And I just yelled "fuck yes" about a trailer, so I'm like, yeah, he's right about me. Flight Simulator is beautiful. I do own a HOTAS flight stick combo. I
Same.
use it for Elite Dangerous for the most part.
Yep.
I would love to get into the Flight Simulator, but the problem that I have with it is it doesn't seem interesting to me. Just because I love flying, I love airplanes, I love the physics
It's like
behind
super
it.
dry.
But you take off, and then, I mean, you land.
And you
It's- like that is the life. My cousin just got his pilot license. Keith, you met him, and he.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to do between airports, especially nowadays. So if you're
Autopilot.
this simulator, you're taking off in a jumbo jet, and you set it on your course, and it goes, and you're supposed to just sit there in real time and wait for it to go, but you don't need to do that in games. You can just skip them. So it's never really been my thing. I do play combat flight simulators, F-18 Hornet back in the day, DCS World, F-86 Sabre in DCS is one of my favorites, where you're, every switch is toggleable, every button does something. You need to, if you're firing rockets, you got to arm the fuses on how long until they arm, like distance wise. Like that's the kind of that interests me, which is why this Top Gun DLC might actually get me into Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It is a brilliant move.
And I love. I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier when you had Pirates of the Caribbean and Sea of Thieves. You've got Flight Simulator and Top Gun. Boom.
Well, and Top Gun, like if you're into planes at all, you're probably into Top Gun, like the movie.
As you should be, because it was filmed practically. All the flight scenes were done for the movie in the new Top Gun that's coming out. That was supposed to be out. It's been done for 2 years, but all the flights are real planes. There's no CG. Or there's minimal CG.
It's interesting. Isn't Tom Cruise rumored to be in an upcoming video game as well? Bethesda?
I don't know that.
I've heard something about that. I think that was on Sacred Symbols, that there's some kind of rumor. It'd be interesting if his voice work is in this as well.
I mean, they definitely matched up with the movie to play it. They said go see the movie on the trailer. Yeah. Great match. I mean, I did not. So the issue I have is I did not see any weapons on that F-15 that he was flying. I believe it was an F-15 at least. Oh no, I'm sorry.
I can't see
F-18, not an F-15. I'm an idiot. But
they have
no
to
weapons.
build in a combat system, which they don't have right now.
There's also no jet aircraft like that in Flight Simulator, smaller ones anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just saw the trailer again. There's no missiles on that F-18, so that's concerning to me.
You're not shooting anything.
Yeah, so it seems like it's just going to be a flight simulator. Less interesting.
It is what it is.
But I understand why they, I guess, don't want to have a game where you're flying F-18s armed in a game that simulates real world
locations. Yes,
traffic where the planes.
And it also doesn't take off of Google Maps as well.
Yeah, not Google, Bing, but Bing Maps.
Bing,
but
yeah, it wouldn't be Google.
Real time weather, real time air travel, real airports. Yeah, you probably don't want to.
Well, the right to blow up.
Put GPS guided bombs on this.
Imagine the YouTube videos on that one. Hey, look, it's
I just blew up my house.
Hey, look, we're in Dubai. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about. We got 3 games left here. I think we're gonna skip Square Enix for now. We'll probably just talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the last 3 games here. So Forza Horizon 5 launching November 9th. This game has been in development for a while. People are waiting for it. We talked about Fable earlier. Again, the Forza Playground team, they're working on Fable as well. But this game is coming out soon, and I will say I am not the type of person to play this game. Personally, I'm not a huge driving guy unless it was like Burnout, which I really enjoyed back in the day. But this looks really good. Obviously, the graphics are beautiful, and it looks like there's more of a story element in this game. Some kind of exploration mode built in there with like, I don't know, with trucks with Jeeps and whatnot. Just looked interesting. It looked beautiful. Probably for those who've been waiting for this game, it's probably going to be a huge hit. It's out for the holidays, and I imagine that will continue. I will say, I would imagine some of this exploration stuff that we're seeing is looped in to the functionality they're building into Fable. And it tells me that Fable will probably look gorgeous as well. What do you think?
I try very hard to gather enthusiasm for these games so that we can talk about them. Racing games are not my thing. They're just not. Burnout back in the day in college, we used to play Burnout. Every time you knock somebody off, you drink. If you got knocked out, you drink.
That's the thing. Yeah, play like savages.
Crash mode, that kind of thing. Those race games I liked. Now it looks like you'll be able to build your own crash mode in these because there's a full track editor, game editor, all kinds of the tools built in. What I will discuss about this game that I found very interesting was the technology that they've implemented into it, especially with the lighting. So
gorgeous.
I wanted to rewatch this trailer before the show. Did not do that. Life got in the way. But from what I remember, they took a week's worth of pictures of the sky in these locations at 12K resolution to be able to more accurately simulate the real-time lighting of these environments at the time. So they have images of the sky, they know how the sun's positioned, they know how, I guess, the moon's reflecting light, so they use that to do some lighting techniques. That kind of detail is something you don't really see in a lot of developers, and it shows because for a while in this trailer I couldn't tell that it was game.
Yeah. Yeah, the graphics are sick.
If there was no overlays, yeah.
Yeah, maybe the best looking game we saw, just from a visual fidelity.
I mean, racing games usually are the best looking games. There's a reason they always use Forza to show off the new PlayStation consoles. Or not Forza, I'm sorry, Gran Turismo.
Yep.
Because you have a very limited model. You can spend a lot of time doing that model in a very limited environment. There's only so many places somebody can go. And,
no eyes, no hair.
Right. Yeah, no hair physics. So, yeah, they're usually the best looking. This looks great. Mexico, great location.
Looks cool.
Yeah, looks great.
What else does it say?
Yeah, just not much I don't really have too much to say about.
All right, let's move on to the two highlights of the show. Well, I don't want to say the two because Starfield obviously was humongously epic to open up with, which I love the way that they kind of structured this. I mean, they had Halo in the middle there. We'll close on Halo instead. But Redfall, new Arcane Studio exclusive, new IP coming, launching the summer of 2022. We have plenty of time. I wouldn't be surprised if that's even delayed and pushed towards the holiday at some point. But let's assume they're going to hit that. The trailer for this, I loved. I actually watched it twice. I showed it to my mom as well because it was so entertaining. It was just from a really high production value, cinematic trailer. And it was also just well written. It was interesting. It was funny. I loved like kind of the team dynamic they had there, the little dog-like robot that was like kind of backing them up. It looks like there's kind of like a class system based with each one of these characters. It's also a game you can play either single player or co-op. It looks like to be like vampire heavy, but also heavily stylized and maybe a cult kind of involved in there, but also story heavy. So seemed really interesting. I mean, to me, it actually looks like a game I would want to play, and maybe even a game we would play together. I thought it looked really interesting. I was excited about it. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, it looked great. Very surprising. Maybe, I mean, it kind of fell in line with one of my predictions. But
yeah, you nailed this one.
I was close, but
wasn't as big, I guess. Yeah.
Arcane's a great studio. I loved Prey. I played through Prey multiple times, and open world, interesting. Vampires, cool. I'm not a big class-based shooter guy. I don't really like being limited in whatever skill set. If I want a sniper, I want to be able to use whatever powers I want or whatever weapons I want.
Do you think you rotate through your team in this one, though?
Could be. Maybe like a...
you can easily quickly swap like Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
Final
like
Fantasy 7?
A brute force. I don't know if you remember that game from the original Xbox days, but maybe, yeah, they're always there at all times, and you switch between them if you want. I mean, that could be interesting.
Sniper.
Yeah, I just don't... I'm not 100% sure what kind of game this is going to be either. Whether this is like a Left 4 Dead style, whether this is... an actual story that takes place in an open world. They just said open world co-op or single player. Actually, they said single player or co-op, which was interesting. They said the single player first.
Well, that's why I assumed it was story heavy, just because of how well, like I know, yeah, they were really flushed out, and I kind of expect that to be like these 4 characters. You have the option of playing, hopefully quickly swapping. But you have the option of playing one of them, and that's what the co-op element is too. Is that you can invite up to 3 friends to play with you, potentially, type of thing.
Yeah, no, it looks interesting. I typically play games on myself, but no gameplay. Yeah. Extended trailer for something that seems this far out, at least in the cinematic.
Very much. I think the reason that they closed on this is because it was just a very entertaining trailer.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a great trailer.
Yeah, like I showed it to my mom because I'm like, I don't watch a lot of TV or anything like that anymore, and I'm like this is, if this was a Netflix show, everybody would watch it. Yeah, like what they put together was well written enough, and like it was comedically attractive. The characters were interesting, and I was just kind of like, I want to know more about this world. So to me, it sold me, and I think that's why they closed on it. Because they're kind of like, it's just fun. It's interesting. It seems like a game could capture almost anybody.
I think everyone assumed they were either going to close on Starfield or Halo. and they came out and they did something different, which was a great surprise. And
Yeah.
right before this game, after Forza, is finally Phil Spencer. Is what I have written there. Also here, because Phil Spencer started talking before this, no Fable or Elder Scrolls.
But
he mentioned
no Hellblade.
No Hellblade. They showed Hellblade recently though, so that's okay. So this game looks great. Looking forward to hearing more about it, seeing some gameplay of it. I want to see how it plays.
I have a feeling that Fable and Skyrim will be next year's big reveals. That they're saving those, and as they should. There's really no. I mean, this think about what do we see? 27 games today from Microsoft, just boom, 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 and I would say like 50% of them were home runs as well.
Yeah,
and all
the conference was great.
Announcement. Yeah, literally one of the best conferences I've ever seen. So we're gonna do what Microsoft didn't. We're gonna close on Halo.
Yeah, surprisingly, we're going to care about Halo.
Yeah, shockingly, Halo matters to us. So let's say this right off the bat, that Halo will be out in 2021. I was absolutely incorrect. Now, they did say holiday, which I think implies that maybe the online and the single player might come out slightly different time frames, but probably right around each other. And I really think maybe because they want to get online out first, potentially, to test those servers. That's my only guess, because they didn't give an exact date. They just said holiday.
How do you not give a date at this point? You can't push this game again. If you're giving another date, you cannot delay it again for the third time.
I have no, especially because you said 2021 when you didn't have to. Okay, but let's say this. So trailer itself, the trailer itself, there were two trailers. There were multiplayer and there was single
right
player.
now I have the single player trailer going, courtesy of GameSpot. I could not find it through official channels, so GameSpot, thank you. Not that you care. Gave me some vibes of Halo 4, where Master Chief wakes up, he's going through space, hitting debris, moving around. I thought the trailer looked great.
I love the line he said. They said, "Oh, what are you going to do with just one bullet?" He goes, "That's all I need."
Yeah. And
he said it's enough or something like that.
And that's when he like threw a canister and blew open the side of the ship.
Yeah, dude. It was good, man. It was really good.
Really cool trailer. You heard Cortana's voice at the end, starting to whisper in his ear. And then let me get to my notes for Halo because I have quite a few.
Well, let's not get to multiplayer because I want to talk about multiplayer too, because they made it a very, very smart move in my opinion with this.
So my notes. Halo time. The open world looked gorgeous, and I'm like, I said, "Who is this bitch, fake ass Cortana?" Like, why you giving me someone who's not Cortana? We want Cortana. Give us Cortana.
Well, isn't it like a quest to find Cortana because she wasn't deleted?
That's what Halo 4 and 5 were supposed to be. But yeah, she talks about how Cortana was taken or was supposed to be deleted, and her program was supposed to be deleted. You were supposed to delete her. Whole program was supposed to be deleting Cortana, and then she didn't. And then this Master Chief slut takes this fake ass Cortana and sticks her inside of him, like it means nothing. After all those games of Cortana being in him, he just takes any old AI and slides it right in that slot.
Hey man, it's been a while. He's been in space alone. Everybody needs somebody when it gets cold in outer space.
Not cool, Master Chief. Not cool.
Master Chief is a lonely soul.
Sticks her right in the chip. What would you think?
I think the last Halo didn't do it for me. I didn't even want to play it, to be honest with you. And I will say this got me super, super hyped for Halo.
Yeah.
If I don't sign up for Game Pass soon, it will be probably because of Halo. I will be signing up for it because I'm going to want to play. It's obviously going to be on Game Pass. It just, I don't know. That trailer just got me all kinds of excited. I will say it felt like older Halo 2 to me. Like it felt like the tone of it. Yeah, the grittiness was there. Like I even just this moment where he kind of where he stops at a body in outer space and he kind of like sees the soldiers and he like hopes that he can save them.
Yeah.
Kind of. And I noticed that. It's like that.
in my mind, he was like, thank you for your sacrifice.
Yeah, or something like that.
He takes the guy's gun. And he's like, I'm gonna use this to fuck some shit up. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Like it felt like he was still felt connected to all those soldiers. Like there's something emotional going on there, which I really like. I think there's
grown
something
as a character. In past games, he's not like some rigid, super soldier clone anymore or genetic engineer guy. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and it I don't know, just really interesting. The tone of this trailer got to me. And I'll say, I mean, the game looks much prettier now, but I would say it probably just looks like an iteration of what they did. It sold me. I was like I'm completely in on a Halo game right now. Yes. And just judging, and we'll go into online, but just judging off the gameplay and the online, it looks like my speed for a shooter as well. It's like not too slow, but also didn't go like full force Call of Duty where you're fucking, going nuts. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for the single player. And I think, rather than spend the money, I'm just going to get Game Pass and just go to town on some Microsoft exclusives.
Yeah, so I mean, the single player looks awesome. I'm pausing a portion of the clip right now that showed the open world, and what really gets me excited is the camera pans around on this small base where there's soldiers walking around. There's vehicles out there, and then you look out into the distance and you see another base, and the detail of that base is so high. You can tell that's a place you can walk to or fly to right now, and there will still be activity. It's
little
not,
Zelda vibes there.
Yeah. You look over there, and I'm like, I could go there, and there is a lot of terrain between this base and that base. So,
and there's also the grappling hook in that. We didn't mention that too.
Single player. I mean, it just. I think this game is going to be different than the other Halos in single player. Not necessarily better.
I mean, the
or
recent
worse.
Ones.
Yeah.
Just in general, because it's open.
Yeah, it's so
world.
open. And the other games were open too, but you would have loading, you'd have checkpoints, you'd have certain areas that you can tell where. It looks like it's just going to be. You can go there.
It's going to be, look, it's a big, I don't want to say that this looks like a Game of the Year candidate for me personally, but it got me more excited for Halo than I have been in quite a bit. And, we did our preview show, and I didn't even think this game was making it this year because they didn't show anything off, right? And that's why I think they gave that holiday window, because I think they're going to want to get the multiplayer out either before or after, I guess. They have some kind of plan there with the servers. That's my guess. I don't know which one's going to come first. Do you want to go into multiplayer?
Yeah, sure.
And start wrapping up the show?
Yeah.
So, I'll give a brief thing, and then I mean, you have more experience playing. I've played almost every Halo. I completed all of them except I didn't play Halo 5 really. I played online of all of them. I will say the online this looks sick. The grappling hook moves look really cool. The pacing looked really good. The game looks beautiful. And in my opinion, the best decision they could have made is they made it free to play, so you don't even need Game Pass to play this game. I think that is a very aggressive move that will pay off immensely, because Halo's brand will separate them from Fortnite and Call of Duty, and I think they are going to hit a humongous home run with this game. And the fact that I believe the game is also crossplay, and maybe I misunderstood her, but if it's crossplay, I don't know how they're going to do that from crossplay to Xbox to PC, because PC gamers have the edge there.
So they match make based on your input device.
Control. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what my assumption was. But having said that, that is so smart. And I think a lot of people might buy an Xbox for this game. I'll be honest with you. If it's as good as people hope, like the idea of having this game that's free to play on an Xbox and only on Xbox, or, most people don't have a PC. They can even get the S, to play with their buddies. That is now you see the value in that S model, because I didn't think there was much before. Now that you don't even need Game Pass to play this game. I just think it's such an aggressive, smart move from Microsoft, and I think it'll pay off. I think the industry should be very worried, and I think Battlefield should be very worried about this game. Like, this is the type of move, because they're going to sell single player copies of this game. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
People are going to play the single player story of this game 100%. It's a humongous draw on its own. So releasing the online, which will definitely have some microtransactions, I imagine, within there.
Yeah, we're looking at some armor sets right now. This samurai armor.
Exactly.
Clearly, you're going to be able to buy cosmetics.
Exactly.
Free to play.
And unbelievable move by Microsoft, and I think really the nail on the head shows that Microsoft, that Sony should be nervous. They really should be to some degree. I don't think Sony's going anywhere or anything like that, but I think it's going to help us in the end who are Sony fans because it's going to force them to evolve, which they need to do. We see that with some PC gaming, but overall, I love this move, Ben. What do you think? I'll let you go to town.
Multiplayer looked amazing. I'm rewinding the trailer here real quick, just starting the beginning. The beginning of this trailer gives me vibes of Spartan from Halo 4, which was like a story mode single player kind of thing within the multiplayer, where you would it had this whole separate story, and they would release different missions every month. You'd get a new mission for Spartan and it had a new chunk of story, and you'd play through it with your friends, and it would contribute to your story. The trailer opens up with a group of recruits like talking and they're in formation, and it just didn't seem like the kind of thing you would see in a multiplayer trailer. If that had been in the single player trailer, that would be one thing. So especially with it being free to play, and they said season 1 of multiplayer or whatever releases this holiday. I'm wondering if they're going another route of Spartan with more story, that maybe purchasable story in the multiplayer arena, in addition to this.
Interesting.
In these huge battles. Then it drops that pretty quickly and just gets into craziness. Vehicles look great. I love the new vehicles. The new Banshee looks awesome. The weapons, you see classic weapons, new takes on classic weapons. Capture the flag, tanks. My God, this game looks awesome.
Yeah, I think this game is going to disrupt the industry. I think even Fortnite should be
and free.
Not worried. Yeah, they're not going to be worried. They're still going to make their money. And again, Fortnite is everywhere. Something important to remember as well. But I think if Microsoft was going to do this,
Yariv, with the power of the cloud, so is this.
Yes, and actually, it's a good point. That was another one of your predictions. People potentially might be able to play this on a television, just streaming it. So. Well,
I mean, yeah, you subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. You play this on your phone. You're over a friend's house and you want to play Halo multiplayer. Just use your phone. Pair an Xbox controller with your phone. You're good to go, and you can play. Smart TVs. This is a huge turnaround from the last time they showed this, and everyone thought it was hot trash.
100%, and it shows also why they invested in buying all these studios. The amount of talent that Microsoft has internally is immense now. It's bringing them back to like a golden era kind of Microsoft, so I love that. And you figure this game is not going to be around just for 2-3 years. They're going to build this game out for 6 to 10 years, 6 to 8 years, the entire generation probably. And I imagine we're going to get DLC for this game as well. Like we might not get a Halo Infinite 2 or whatever they want to call the next one. We might just get DLC. And, like you see the patches they're releasing for games now to just upscaling graphics. Like they're going to do that with these games. There's no reason to build a brand new engine. They could, but with Game Pass, they don't necessarily need to do that anymore. They don't need to release a whole new game. They can just continue to evolve the game and get more people on Game Pass. This is a really, really, really smart move by Microsoft, and I would say definitely to Sony, you guys need yourselves a shooter or something like this. I know they're releasing. That's probably why they're releasing factions for Last of Us. You know what I mean? To try to enter this type of environment, because this is such an aggressive move by the quality in which they're releasing. We saw Call of Duty do this, but this is somebody who owns a platform. They own that platform, and they own PC as well. Like it is such an aggressive move. I didn't expect the multiplayer to be completely free.
Well, that leaked out a while ago.
But I did
a year ago. But yeah,
maybe I'm like all of it like that, just to be like, it's just completely free, no Game Pass, no nothing.
Yeah, that came out a while ago. I don't think they meant to announce it a while ago. And it's the full multiplayer. Yeah, crossplay, cross everything. It's
extremely aggressive. I mean, again, Call of Duty did that as well, and it was a humongous home run.
Well, just Warzone.
But again,
So this is like the full multiplayer suite. It seems like.
Okay. That
Yeah, like all
actually
game
no, you're right.
modes,
That's kind of what I meant. I didn't
yeah.
expect that. Like everything, like not a mode, like everything, like literally, it's
Yeah.
such an
So it
aggressive
seems
move.
like they didn't limit it in any way.
And this is you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar pie that they could potentially take, I don't know, 50% of if this hits a home run the way it could. I mean, it's Halo. It's not.
It looks beautiful, man. It looks really
Yeah.
good. I can't wait
And
to
again,
play this.
I just as an outsider, somebody who doesn't even play aggressively, like online, like I want to play Halo multiplayer online.
I'm going to. I'm getting older. My reflexes aren't what they used to be, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna play the story though. I'm really excited.
I'm very excited. So the Halo 4 campaign was okay. I liked it. Halo 5 campaign was very disappointing. And I was one of those people that listened to the podcast they put out, which was like stories from leading up to it. That was from like civilians and deep lore of what was going on with the AIs and stuff. I was pumped for the story with Locke. They were hunting Master Chief. Master Chief was rogue. And then it ended up being like nothing. They like met up and he's like, yeah, you're right. You're not an asshole. We're friends. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, there's still a chance that they might blow this, but I don't think so. This showing was severely impressive. Like this whole conference by Microsoft, you just watch it and you're like, yo, they get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they
did,
whatever it is, they got it.
They did a make good on the trailer from last year. Yeah, I'm pumped for this, and I was not excited for it before.
Me neither, dude. I would like for me, like you saw, I was like, I can miss this year, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, I hope it doesn't. Like I'm ready to play this game now.
Yeah.
And yeah, huge home run. Kudos.
Yeah, good
Kudos,
job,
Microsoft.
Yeah,
and Phil Spencer, thank you. Thank you for coming out at the end.
Yeah,
and
nice of you to show the fuck up.
I was watching somebody online. They're like, I'm sorry, I forget the YouTuber. But he had a really funny line. He goes, and here comes Phil Spencer coming out at the end, looking like he just left the strip club at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was like,
they had that buffet, man. The lunch buffet. How great has Phil Spencer been for Xbox?
I actually anticipated that, and I was telling everybody that, like, I was like, wow, I was like, this, you know what it is? It's the same thing that people are worried about Jim Ryan with Sony. It's like when you know somebody is really a gamer and like he is authentic as fuck. Like Phil Spencer gets it. He's like giving you the games that he wants. You know, it's like almost like giving a kid the ability. He has been so good at this job. Hopefully he can maintain it and build upon it. I like it again because it lights a fire under Sony's butt, and neither company's going anywhere in my mind. Yeah. So I'm just like, I want it. I want Sony now to create, like, give me, like, look at what Microsoft just did. You guys got a huge shoes to fill. Like, you got to compete with this. What do you got? You know, what do you got? Like right now, their console's not even doing 120 frames a second. How are you gonna resolve that? They have to do something. You know, they can't stay the way they're staying. It's gonna force them to evolve. They got comfortable, and Microsoft just caught up to them and then just kicked them in the ass.
Yeah,
and
ever since Don Matrick left, and Phil Spencer comes in, takes over, it's just every move he's made has been right.
Yeah, I mean, it took time. I think a lot of people maybe got a little impatient in between. But this showing was just so solid. Yeah. And like all the games that we went through, there's literally a game in there for everyone.
And that's what they're trying to do. They don't care what you play. They want you to subscribe to Game Pass. They don't care what you play on it. They just want you to be subscribed.
Is Age of Empires on Game Pass?
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? Like, so why would I buy Age of Empires?
You wouldn't.
Like, I wouldn't. I'm definitely 100% going to play it. I'm definitely going to play Halo.
It's not on PlayStation. So the only place to play it is on a place where Game Pass is.
Yes. It wouldn't even... It's like, why would I buy it for $60? I mean, I potentially would anyway, but...
I mean, the only
with the amount of games that I get...
the only game you're ever going to play, it would be cheaper after.
Which is not true. So, and there's a lot of PC games to play, so...
Yeah.
Looks like I'm getting Game Pass. You guys got me. You got me. All right, Ben, let's call this one a night. We've gone over 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, we said we were going to keep this in 90 minutes, and we're over 2 hours.
This one was impossible though. There's just way too much to talk about, and we even rushed through a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the next one we do next week will be even harder. Maybe we'll do another episode this week if we have time.
Sure.
Because there's going to be so much to talk about.
Maybe after Nintendo.
Yeah, because that's probably going to be pretty cool. There's going to be good news there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Sony's going to try to steal the show somehow. They're going to have to respond. Maybe they don't respond this week. You know, maybe they'll do it next week. But they're working on something.
Yeah,
There's no way we're just going to let everybody just beat up on them like that. All right, cool. Let's end it on that. Guys, like, subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end, please like, subscribe, share our stuff out. Comment, do whatever you got to do. We'll keep coming back. Hopefully you guys get the version with all of the trailers, because we're still trying to figure out the technology, and I got to edit it in a certain way, and we have a pause in between that apparently doesn't sync up. So hopefully and I don't want us to have like our mouths like talking one way and our faces doing another thing. So we'll figure it out. Hopefully everything works out, but we're going to keep getting better at this. And then we'll start bringing on guests probably down the line.
Yeah.
We'll have some people coming on. All right, Ben, another awesome night.
Thanks for having me out.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. And remember to always play on gamers.